Hello, everyone, and welcome back to North American Strikers Academy. I'm joined by Sloth, and we're watching Ember's Flame versus PLX. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited. Again, more OS gameplay, more NASA. And we have a few exciting games ahead of us today for sure, right? We're already jumping into the first one with a night market game. Anything you're excited specifically in this specific matchup?
Well, Mr. Zert might be the most exciting player in this entire match. Yesterday, Mr. Zert went a little crazy, right? Went 1-1 against the Sad Boys main roster, and honestly, he was playing well enough that it could have been a 2-0.
Yeah, for certain, right? Obviously, being able to show up in NASA like that is a major thing. And question is he going to be able to translate that into NASA today, right? Are we going to have that performance be represented and maybe find themselves a clean 2-0, or is it going to be a different story? Because you are playing against PLX. It's not a team that you should be underestimating.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting start too, right? Spark and Stagger Swagger, and Stagger Swagger has been always a bit of a controversial start because of how it warps the game, but speaking of game warping starts, Spark is exactly that. So what do you expect the draft strategy to be like after all this Stagger Swagger?
I feel like after all that Stagger Swagger, you're just kind of looking to play as much control as possible, right? KOs are going to be a bit difficult to execute, given Stagger Swagger just being so good at denying that. And control is going to be a little bit more clean, especially on a map as well, where like Night Market, where control is already a pretty strong strategy. And to top it off, you have the side of PLX essentially playing a kitten roster as well. They're going to be speeding throughout the entirety of the game here.
Yeah, Aramako X, Zay Forever is going to be the carry here, perhaps, but it's going to take getting past Wisp, who is on the comfortable Atlas. That is the comfort pick for this goalie. But Jay, speaking of comfort picks, Jay made her name on the Juno. It goes unbanned in the character select, and that's exactly what scores the first goal.
Really nice intercept and read of that clear as well for her to find that jump and just secure the first goal. It's definitely going to do a lot good for you to get the momentum started, but first barrier already drops again. Are they going to be able to hold on to it, though? We'll see. Nice flip coming out from Wisp, though.
Yeah. And last time we saw Wisp on the NASA stream, there were a lot of question marks, and unfortunately they didn't perform nearly as expected, but they look so much more confident today, right? Wisp is dancing around in the midfield, walking up very often, and even goes for a primary on Zay Forever as the flip is secured by Mr. Zert. If Wisp can continue playing like this is a very different Ember's Flame, and PLX viewed to be perhaps the best team in the league, perhaps well, honestly, pretty consensus top 3 at the very least. Ember's Flame's going to try to challenge that here.
Yeah, for certain. They did actually find that barrier in the power play as well, but now the side of PLX being complete on the map. They are still on an open goal, though. Mako not really being the best defensive force in open nets compared to barriers, so we'll see if Vaga's going to be able to hold on to that. But before that, the side of Ember's Flame needs to make sure that they don't drop their barrier. PLX has tried to set themselves up for an attack. Not quite able to find the barrier, though. Zert getting really low, but finding the strike past Vaga to get the second goal of the set.
And Mr. Zert, yet again, calm and collected even while being staggered. The PLX offense, not quite as coordinated, it feels like. Mr. Zert alone, finding the 1v1s with Vaga, with Zay Forever and Josh. They don't have the tight passing plays to get past Wisp, who is defending very well, but Zay Forever with the strike reset opens up the net, flips it in, and that's the 9-second goal for PLX.
Really just a statement goal, to be honest. Going 2-0 down in goal, Zay was not happy with that and said, you know what, I'll just be able to take both of your barriers, use my flip, and just confidently return one. PLX still does need to find 2 more goals, as compared to only 1 from the side of Ember's Flames, but they can easily set themselves up again, right? They are a fast team comp on that Mako, on that era, and Zay finds a nice barrier here. Flip has to come out from Wisp.
Yeah, the speed you mentioned is always a big factor in terms of getting the core control, in terms of mobility, in terms of following up, but you can also say the same about the Juno, right? Jay having the Juno, the core speed is huge. The presence for the slimes, but Wisp, oh no! Going for a strike shot instead of just striking the core. That is a habit that is a little bit common among a lot of strike shot goalies in the mid to mid-upper levels, and Wisp has got to break that habit before this set goes the wrong way, because PLX are making a bit of a comeback.
They are for sure making their comeback here as they're taking another barrier. Jay getting a little bit low, but the Atlas ultimate there to interrupt and assist with that healing. A really nice setup, takes both barriers though, as Ember's Flames are now going up against an open net.
What a setup by Jay, and if Wisp can hold on in the corner, they have a massive barrier lead. Zay forever can't get a strike on it. Wisp and Jay manage to defend, flip it away. Mr. Zert in the 1v1, pushing through the barrier beam, looking for another strike, flipped away by Vaga to save it for the moment, but Mr. Zert's getting so many more chances. The passing plays, Zay interrupts. The speed from Josh isn't quite enough to keep the play going though. Zay in position, but it drifts back to the side of Mr. Zert, and Ember's Flame are so consistent on the defense so far.
They are holding on to it, but just as we're talking about it, Zay finds a crucial barrier there, and Wisp gets down to really low HP. He needs to be careful now not to be taken out, as PLX are continuously putting on the pressure onto his HP bar. The core still holds in the side of Ember's Flame, but are they going to be able to find a clear out of it, or is the pressure that PLX is able to field going to be enough, as eventually Zay dashes forward, flips, and secures the goal, and with that, the first set. And that is a major Awakening draft where you do have the advantage now with the Era going as a first pick.
Yeah, that's a little tough too, because Ember's Flame were 2-0 up here. They just could not convert at the very end. Spark of Agility, the second pick here though, and I think the Fighter Flight's going to be opted for from the Era, so there is some Spark scaling there for Jay, right? Spark of Power, Spark of Agility, and Juno is one of the best users of 2 Spark with Spark of Power because of the core speed that it provides. With Hotshot, you get Red Core before overtime, but the draft is so scary on the side of PLX. So many power picks.
Yeah, the perfect form going on to that X. The Fighter Flight on the Era is going to be massive, and Mako is definitely not going to be upset at a prime time for himself. So we'll see who's going to end up getting the better output from these Awakenings now. But Kickoff immediately progresses as PLX, again, double barriers. Zay just using this X to maximum efficiency.
And Wisp is taking so much damage as well, reaching it back, and the missile prop, though, has to be a big factor in this game, right? Missile prop Atlas makes the character so much more comfortable to play, and if Wisp can get some midfield pressure, walk up a little, get some forward pressure with those astral projections, that would be absolutely huge here. Just like that, making sure it gets past the midfield, but Mr. Zert not quite finding a scoring opportunity off it, and Jay Slime goes a little wide. Ember's Flame still have an open net, but Mr. Zert goes in, takes out the goalie as Vaga pushes up, but Zay forever takes out the midfielder and is now looking for a scoring attempt of his own. Now Josh and Zay are trying to find a strike war win. They find one, but Mr. Zert manages to defend for the moment. Wisp in position, flips it away, but Josh just keeps it in possession. And the defense of Ember's Flame not quite able to resist the power of Zay and Josh.
Yeah, Zert found a beautiful KO to start the whole play off with, but Zay immediately responded there, and then they just played it so well off of that power play. This is not allowing the Atlas to make a maximum use of those abilities, of those secondaries and primaries, but the next point has immediately started. Both barriers have already fallen on the side of PLX, but PLX immediately on the offense, a flip in front of net. Are they going to be able to translate this though into a goal? There's a lot of pressure coming your way, with Jay trying her best to hold on to it, but Zay closing in and scoring that goal.
It's tough because I think PLX are doing very well in terms of mitigating the power of Juno and the Missile Prop Atlas in the midfield. Even when the core gets to Mr. Zert, Josh is almost always there now to steal it away, and that's the power of the Fighter Flight mobility as well, being able to catch up even after one lost strike war with the additional speed. Wisp has to be locking down these barriers, but it's difficult when Zay is playing so well, and Mr. Zert just cannot find a clean opening.
Oh, and a beautiful KO coming out from Zay yet again as they're finding themselves in a power play. Trying to push up from the bottom here, does find the striker advantage. Flip coming up from Zert to clear the situation. Unfortunately, not able to find the KO on Zay though, as we're now working with an open net from the side of Ember's Flame. Are they going to be able to hold on to it? Zay still holds the control from the core. Josh now running up, trying to apply pressure. Vaga doing a really good job holding an offensive goalie position there as well to make sure that that core is never coming to the side of PLX.
Yeah, and Jay in a lot of trouble again, almost gets hit off the map. Wisp has to use this flip well, but hits it right to Josh, and now Josh and Zay passing plays, looking for a strike war on the Slime, but it's defended away for the moment. Lots of meter on Jay. Sorry, lots of meter on Zay. Sounds a lot like Jay, honestly, as it's spun around the map. Mr. Zert scoring opportunity, but can't find the strike afterwards. Once again, Ember's Flame, they find a power play. They have an open net. But can they get past Zay and Vaga is the question as Jay goes for a mix-up. But it's an easy defense for Vaga for the moment. A passing play, perhaps, but it just gets sent to the other side of the map. The goalie gets KO'd and the slime will secure it. And Ember's Flame finally find a goal of their own to try and start the comeback.
Yeah, and they've set themselves up so nicely as well, right? Continuously finding those KOs on PLX and then playing their position just perfectly around that, not allowing the remaining two members of PLX to really defend. But PLX immediately is trying to answer now. Zay running up, using Flip, not quite able to find a barrier. Does find one now, though. But Jay is able to set herself up for an attack. Are they going to be able to find anything from it, though? Or is PLX holding on? It does look like PLX has this decently under control. A huge Asher ult coming out, though, to now set the score even in barriers.
Yeah, but the question is, can they get this last barrier? Because Vaga has been holding those barriers so well. The offense has been mitigated by Josh in the midfield. But this X Maximus from Zay Forever looks to not be too effective. They do put a lot of damage on Mr. Zert, though, who is comboed off the edge by Vaga. Such efficient KOing by PLX means this power play will be devastating for the side of Ember's Flame. Zay Forever taking it slow, burning the abilities from Wisp, but they do hold on for the moment. The respawn does come in. Ember's Flame survives the power play and they try to push forward, but the passes aren't quite there because Josh is cutting off every passing lane. They're going to have to depend on the overtime Juno to find something.
The Flip had to come out there as well to set themselves up for an attack. Now Zert in the corner, but just not able to get past both the X and Era there. Sideswap trying to make something work. Zay dribbling in front of the barrier. Wisp using the Solar Expanse extremely well there to defuse the situation before it gets too bad. Flip coming out as well. Zay still holding on to that Flip. Is maybe going to try to set himself up to use it to secure the second barrier. Josh also has Flip now. PLX really in a strong position here, but the core is just not really in a position where they found themselves control. Zay's Flip coming out, not quite able to find the core there, though, as Josh is trying to set up a really beautiful defense, though, from Jay, as now there's an open goal situation on the side of PLX. Really good save from Vaga coming out, though, and a beautiful knock ult as well to stop that core before it goes into the net, as now Ember's Flame are trying to set themselves up to get past Vaga, but they're just not able to find it. And again, beautiful positioning from the side of PLX is continuously holding up the pressure here.
The Juno Slimes are getting scary, but both goalies, Wisp and Vaga at this point, have been on point. It's been so difficult to get past them here as Wisp wins another strike war, defends the barrier. It's tough, though, because Zay Forever is punching, but that means Wisp is building up energy, almost has the core flip available, and that missile prop primary makes it so easy to get it out of there from such a long range, and the Slimes from Jay are going to be a scary thing to look out for as Josh once again grabs the core, but it bounces backwards. The Ensnare Drum stops Mr. Zert for a moment, but Mr. Zert still gets in there. It gets hit stun right afterwards. But a fadeaway goal is exactly what they need, and they have so much energy heading into the next point as well.
Yeah, that energy is going to come in so immensely. It's going to be so valuable, but it's going to be valuable for both sides, as nearly everyone in this game is holding a Flip. The first one's being shot out by Zert, as a barrier drops on the side of Ember's Flames, though. And keep in mind, there's still 3 Flips for the side of PLX here. You do have to be a bit worried, as there is a Flip advantage now for the side of PLX, but Jay with a beautiful Flip takes out Zay, and there's now a power play for the side of Ember's Flame.
The Slime's not enough, but Vaga, panic flip, that's huge energy burn. That brings the energy economy back to even, but that's a lot of cooldowns burned from Wisp. Zay and Josh can play fast offense here, but the Slime completely shuts that down. Zay taking so much damage from Mr. Zert, and now Jay pushing forward as well. Wisp, though, needs to find a way out of this, and Zay Forever finds a strike. The barrier's open, the strike's being missed right now. Needs to hold on for the moment to give them another chance, but the NATO is amazing from Josh, but the Flip's even better from Mr. Zert. A cross-map barrier take. It's still an open net, though. They need to hold on. The primaries are doing so much work. The barrier beam, the strike war win. Mr. Zert playing goalie for now, but not enough speed to get past Josh. And despite the heroics from Ember's Flame, it is PLX securing another set.
PLX going up 2-0 now, and it just comes down to a lot of just basic positioning play that they're executing so well. Especially on a map like Night Market, you can see they're playing around that speed get in the middle just so extremely well to just not give the side of Ember's Flame any room to breathe. And to come with that, we're now looking at a Spark Deny coming up from Josh, not wanting Jay to pick up that third Spark, but Jay gladly picking up the Egoist. Knife's Edge finds its way onto Zay with a team player also ending up on Vaga, that could hold a lot of value. Because PLX is already playing so oppressively with their positioning, with their core control. Having a team player behind that could actually be a major issue for the side of Ember's Flame.
And keep in mind, Zay also picks up additional speed, right, with that Knife's Edge, team player to core speed. The core control now is overwhelmingly in the favor of PLX because there was no speed picked up other than the Egoist, which is conditional from the side of Ember's Flame. Zay and Josh are so much faster, so much more mobile, of course, and that's not even counting the fact that there's the Mako and the Era both speeding the team up. So this overwhelming speed advantage might just be what seals the game here. It was close so far in the 2 sets, but there's only so much you can do at this point. They need to find some massive Juno plays or else this game is slipping away from them.
Yeah, you can just really see it in the positioning as well. They do end up finding a KO on Zay here that was trying to hold on to life for so long. An attack needs to come out though now, and you need to make sure you can make use of this power play. You need to find a second barrier because Zay is coming back now, and once Zay is up, there's just going to be so much positional pressure coming out from the side of PLX again that you need to hold up against. The side of Ember's Flame do find a beautiful Juno hit though to get it right past the defense. Flip coming out, beautiful save from Wisp to hold on to this point as a flip comes out as well, trying to get any kind of scoring opportunity, but Josh holding down that midfield with Vaga behind, it seems so difficult to get past this defensive side from PLX.
Yeah, now the team player is going to come online, so it's going to take a clutch play, and the clutch play comes from an own goal off the center. Ember's Flame will take that one, as Mr. Zert is credited with it. Josh has been pretty excellent so far, but that was a little bit goofy. But what else I wanted to talk about was really the power plays, right? If they dump a bunch of cooldowns on Zay and kill Zay, I don't think that's even like a massive losing play for PLX, because if they burn a ton of cooldowns, then Josh and Vaga can defend. On the other side, if the cooldowns are burned by PLX, they have a very easy time scoring even without the cooldowns because of their passing plays and speed. And that's exactly what we see here. Last point, it took so long because even with the kill on Zay, there were no cooldowns and the Mako and the Era were just defending over and over. But if Zay's the one getting a KO, if Mr. Zert's going down, PLX have a very easy time scoring.
Yeah, most definitely. And again, you could just kind of see that oppressive force coming out from PLX here as they take a first barrier. Ember's Flame is able to answer, but the core just goes so fast to the other side. Jay is not even able to really assist Wisp on the top there, as we're now facing again an open goal situation. The beam does come out from Josh and punishes Wisp's slight mispositioning there, as PLX is now looking at match point.
Oh, it's so tough too because Ember's Flame were playing so well early on, but they let the game slip away from them in 2 close 5-point sets. And now PLX has scaled to the point where it is so difficult to play around their win condition, where they have to play PLX's game. And PLX's game right now is the Kitten comp. It is speed. It is so much speed that is so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, there's just nothing you can really do about it other than try to find a KO, but then again, the same issue kind of comes out that you mentioned before. If you're using abilities for a KO, you can't really force a pass to that Mako anymore. As a beautiful offense from the side of PLX, again, takes both barriers. They coming in, trying to find a KO. The HP bars from Ember's Flame looking rather low, though. Now Josh walking up with a flip as well. Vaga has one on the defensive end as well if they do end up needing it. The core flies back and forth continuously, but it still holds consistently in the side of Ember's Flame as Josh had enough, walks up and flips it in to take game 1.
Well played by PLX. Although it was close early on, they scaled comfortably. They played their game plan. And of course, they knew that speed was king on Night Market. And I really like how they approached this game. And I think it's looking good for them the rest of the series because they had a clear game plan. And again, like, both these goalies actually have quite a few question marks surrounding them. I think both of them performed incredibly well in certain moments, but the inconsistency showing up definitely still leave a few questions for the next game.
They are definitely still there, but Wisp did have a good performance trying to defend against the Kitten comp from the side of PLX. It's just, there's just a limit to how much you can do, right? If you just have continuous pressure coming into your side of the field, it's bound to have a mistake happen every once in a while. And I feel like that draft from PLX just made it so difficult for Ember's Flame to execute the best they can do at this point is just trying to refocus, trying to get themselves together for the next game, as the end of this one did seem rather one-sided.
Yeah, and they're the ones who will be heading to their map pick of Atlas's lab. Night Market was PLX's pick, which feels kind of obvious in hindsight, right? The kitten composition. I feel like they knew something going into that, and they most importantly they left the Juno up for Jay, which is pretty much a signature pick, and they neutralized it quite effectively. The Juno wasn't allowed to take over the game at all. They were always there with the speed, making sure to mine the slimes. We didn't really see any crazy Juno goals that game at all.
Yeah, the core was continuously being controlled so well from the side of PLX, but that's also kind of due to the nature of the map, right? Night Market maybe not being the most open of a map, not really allowing for a lot of Juno funsies that can occur. What I'm interested in now is how this draft on AtLab is going to go, right? Are they also prepared to give Jay the Juno here, or are they just going to call it and say, hey, Night Market, it's passable on AtLab. It's a little bit of a different story. Maybe we do want to deny or ban out the pick here. So very interested to see what this draft is going to be looking like.
Yeah, and it looks like PLX is opting to stay on red side here. From an EU perspective, any thoughts on blue versus red side, first pick versus second and third picks?
I mean, I kind of can just speak off of what I've seen so far in the side of EOSL, and I do think blue side has a major win rate advantage on basically most of the maps. So staying on red side is definitely an interesting choice. I do think blue side is a little bit better. However, if they do have a draft prepared, if they have some trades that they want to be going for, there's definitely an angle to go after this red side pick. But it all kind of comes down to preparation, right? Is there any two characters you're willing to trade for a first pick? And it kind of is an issue as well with red side of just the flexibility, because drafts just happen sometimes, and sometimes you're just gonna go into a hotshot game, and that first pick is just invaluable.
Yeah, we'll have to see. They're about to hop into character select, so we're just waiting on the awakenings here. Other aspects about AtLab is that similarly to Night Market, we're also probably going to see quite a few edge KOs. Let's take a look at the awakenings then. That should probably be more interesting than just talking about hypotheticals. And okay, built different in stacks on stacks. Any big changes in thought process after that one?
It kind of allows for both, honestly. Build different allows for a more KO heavy forward to be picked, right? I feel like something like Build Different might even allow an X pick if any of the teams are looking into it. But stacks and stacks being the bigger factor here, I feel like with just enabling again more of the control picks as well, giving so much speed for both sides. So it's a bit difficult to say for certain. I do feel like you have a lot of avenues that he can pursue here as well, especially because Build Diff also could allow something like Erasmus pick, and then you still lean into that control side just because Erasmus with size is really good. So excited to see what the teams are going to opt for here as they're getting into the draft.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because so far, we know that Mr. Zert is comfortable on basically every brawler, right? So we can make a confident prediction that honestly, picking for Mr. Zert isn't too high of a priority. He's very flexible. Jay plays the Juno, the Aimee, and the Estelle mainly. Those three picks are the three to look at. And off the start, I don't think one is necessarily preferred here. So that also a very flexible player. So I think Ember's Flame have to prioritize Wisp, because Wisp is most comfortable on the Atlas pick, and prioritizing that might be the key to them doing as well here, especially because Atlas does have a pretty good time defending the Atlas Lab barriers. On the other hand, PLX, I would not be surprised for them going for a pretty similar composition. Yeah, I think the Mako will make a return if allowed, because that pick does enable speed very easily, and with the stacks on stack start, that will be very comfortable for them.
Yeah, most definitely. Maybe there's even a potential run back of some kind of Kitten-esque comp, although I do think it's not necessarily going to be the best choice for an AtLab. There's definitely an avenue to pursue with like a Mako and a Now instead of the Era on a map like this. So the Awakening set, I feel like it's just very interesting because it doesn't shoehorn any team into one specific playstyle that they have to pursue. So they have a lot of options, and I feel like this is where the draft can be can have kind of like a make or break situation, right? If you're going for the better strategy than your opposition, you're just going to be having so much easier of a game to play. But it's always going to come down to how are you reading those awakenings? What are your priorities, right? Is the side of Ember's Flames going to pursue that Atlas pick to just get that comfort on the back end, or do they maybe even see a prio pick just out of baseline comfortability and maybe even a deny pick that they might want to go for? So it's definitely rough to say, but I do love awakening sets like this, yeah, right? Because the players are able to kind of play for what they are good at, and they're able to display their comfortability on certain characters. Um, and overall, I just feel like there's just a lot of fun potential here. But the draft has commenced. The bans do come out. A Rasmus and a Juno do make sense. PLX not allowing Jay onto that Juno pick now. They said Night Market was enough. We don't need it on Atlab. And the first pick from the side of Ember's Flame coming out for the Mako. Probably wanting to make use of that stacks on stacks to maximum use.
Yeah. And on the other side, it is the Asher that comes out. I like the Mako pick in the sense that it does take it away from Vaga, and they did use it very well to create a massive speed advantage on the side of PLX last game. But I'm not 100% confident in Wisp on the pick. So that's definitely something that we need to pay attention to heading into this game. And with the later picks here, I think PLX is going to continue to pick speed, continue to pick characters that can get in there. And speaking of getting in there, Aimi, that character might be a little strong, might be a bit of a staple, and is locked in.
Yeah, and I'm not sure on the skill sets from the players from PLX, right? But Amy also having some kind of flexibility value. Now I do think she in midfield is going to hold a lot of value just because again mobility, KO threats as well. You said it before. Atlab is a map that also really allows you to go for edge KOs, and Amy does really well on that with the cyber swipes, with the glitch pops. And on top of that, you can assist shoves so well as well with that turret because Asher is already going to be in the face of Wisp, continuously trying to push that core. And if you back that up with a Amy turret as well, it's going to be nearly impossible to properly defend. Next picks are coming out though. That is still coming out for the side of Ember's Flame.
Yeah, still on J as expected. It was either that or the Aimi, and the Aimi was taken away. I do expect the Aimi to be the goalie pick of Vaga. Has played it in the past, and it is pretty good and leaves a lot of flexibility open for the last pick on the red side. Kazan and Estelle. I think Estelle is a pick that has been not struggling, not unpickable, but definitely lower priority recently because when the core speed is fast and when the players are fast, she struggles. And if this game picks up into late game, I think that will be something to be noted. And with the Kai being locked in, again, that could go to Josh or Vaga, but I do expect it to be Josh a little bit perhaps. And PLX once again, I think, have a composition that really lets them get in there.
Yeah, for certain. And they can just make so much use of those stacks as well, right? Stacks on Kai is going to make Kai the speed demon he can be. Both awakening options are great for Asher as well, right? Stacks making up for a little bit more mobility on the pick or build different, just making sure that you're even bigger and even better at forcing. So the game plan from the side of PLX does seem pretty clear. You're just trying to play to shove it into those corners, to shove it into the barriers, and just overwhelm the defensive capabilities of that Mako pick. I feel like the side of Ember's Flame are being a little bit more opportunistic. You did mention it. Estelle does struggle when the game gets too fast, but she still excels at just intercepting passes and forcing it through the defensive as well with a well-placed piercing shot. And Kazan up front as well, doing a really good job at just trying to get a optimal outplay position, try to juke out that control from the side of PLX. So I feel like the matchups overall are pretty even. It's going to come down to how well is Ember's Flame going to be able to execute their character picks against such a control heavy side of PLX here.
Yeah, and we should get into game any second now. My eyes are definitely on the Kazan though, because Mr. Zert has played in the past, has looked good on it in the past, and that is a pick that has a lot of scoring agency, a lot of ability to take over the game in terms of outplaying the enemy goalie. And since it's basically guaranteed that PLX have a ranged goalie, either the Kai or the Aimi, I think Mr. Zert's gonna really decide how this game goes.
Yeah, most definitely. That Kazan just has so much potential, but if it's not being properly brought out, it is kind of rough to necessarily play around. But I'm always excited for some Kazan gameplay, honestly. I feel like Kazan's just also a fun character to watch being played. Personally, not a fan of playing against it, but that might just be a little bit of a goalie bias here.
Yeah, I'm also a goalie, so I do understand what you're getting at. As we head into game, it is Vaga indeed on the Aimi goalie, and that will give so much midfield control to the side of PLX. We'll see if they can capitalize on it, or if Mr. Zert with a large Kazan can find the outplays in the enemy goal box.
Yeah, and the Awakenings coming up for PLX are just 3 times stacks on stacks, so they are just trying to optimize that speed as much as possible, as they're already putting Mr. Zert down to stagger though. A lot of damage still being output for a team comp that is looking to play more control heavy than damage heavy.
Yeah, a lot of damage and the side effect of control. But Jay, you mentioned it, Estelle has the presence, has the scoring ability, and that's right there. The barrier is going down as Mr. Zert finds the KO. Stagger dodges away, looks for the goal, but gets KO'd. And now in the 2v2, the barriers are down. So Jay, with the well-placed piercing shot, could be the one scoring here. And Vaga mistimes the glitch pop against it. Well played from Jay.
Yeah, just really good timing there to just take advantage of that misused glitch pop there and just gets that first goal. The barriers did drop as well rather fast on the side of PLX, but they were not happy with that point. Vaga immediately walking up, taking the first barrier. The Zert again is really low. There's a lot of damage that's just being dumped onto him. Question is, how long is he going to be able to hold on as PLX is trying to set themselves up for the second barrier take. Flip coming out though, securing it from Vaga. Another flip coming out from the side of Zay as he finds a KO. Wisp is also getting really low and does end up dropping as well. Power play 3v1 situation now. PLX just toying around right now, trying to set themselves up properly, but a huge intercept from Jay coming out to take the barrier. Now Zert in front of net isn't able to really do anything, but is able to stall enough time for Wisps to come back into the map and into the play. Jay is also sitting on top of a flip. Is she going to be able to make use of it properly though? They do try to find the KO, and Josh not able to find it in the end though, as Zert is now down to stagger, no evades, and gets killed by Zay. It's just, and now we're in the power play for the side from PLX. It just goes back and forth. Flip has to come out from the side of Jay now, as the core does go out. And Josh, again, down to being staggered. It's just a back and forth. No team can really find anything, but a beautiful piercing shot from Jay is going to be able to secure this goal.
Well played from Jay, and you were right pre-game talking about the Estelle pick. Jay comes in clutch when it matters, and PLX are not going to be happy about dropping that 3v1 power play situation. Jay finds the 1v3, Jay finds the goal at the end, but the Firewall Sentry seems to be a little bit of a tough opponent here. Jay being the one focused now. I think they're changing targets. I think they're recognizing that Jay might be a bigger threat than Mr. Zert right now in the early game.
Yeah, most definitely. But Vaga with a beautiful cyber swipe jumps up front, assists with taking the second barrier as they're now facing an open net. And Jay also just trying to hold on to dear life at this point. Flip does come out from Vaga to defend both the barriers. And energy levels seem to be rather low on the side of PLX. They might need to be a bit careful as Zay is down to basically 50 HP. Jay is being forced into the edge as well. Are they going to be able to survive? Just barely. Vaga trying to jump up, trying to apply more pressure with that aiming turret. Not quite able to find it as Zert finds the kill secure onto Zay.
Yeah, and Jay somehow still lives. Dodging and dipping and weaving around every single cooldown from PLX as a good pass down from Wisp gets the core out of danger. They're playing this power play very cautiously, and they do find the barrier off of it. The caution very warranted when you're playing against Inject Button Aimi. Vaga though positioning well to save it for the moment as Zay dribbles up the field, looking for a strike war, looking for a mix-up, but Wisp and Jay cover both sides of the net. Well coordinated on the defense, looking for a shot to the bottom side. Not too coordinated on the offense, but they get another try on the bottom side. And the Black Hole will help them again with another assist. But the core goes up to Zay. Tough situation for Wisp, but a good strike sends it away. And Jay now in an open net situation blinking forwards. Not quite enough to score the goal as Zay gets possession once again, finds the KO. Josh pushing in as well, and that primary a little rough from Wisp sets it up perfectly for Zay and Josh. Unfortunate, but in the 2v3, there's only so much you can do. They got lucky multiple times, but this time PLX secures the goal.
Yeah, and the game at this point is just sped up already so fast, right? Everyone in the game, with the exception of Zay, is sitting at those max stacks. So the movement speed is just going to continue to scale as the first barrier does drop on the side of Ember's Flames. The Zay trying to set up, take the second barrier, but Wisp doing a really good job defending it. The Amy turret, though, being too much as Zay's now in front of net. Uses the flip to stagger Wisp, and he can't really do anything about that, as Josh with the barrage is able to force it in the end, and we're now on goal 5.
What I'm noticing about Wisp is that they're playing really impatiently. There's a lot of situations where it works out, but they're trying to get the immediate clear away from the Imi turret instead of sending it back into the corner to save clear. And again, here too, that impatience really getting punished by PLX. They are very aware of what goalie habits are like, and the Giga Blast almost secures the goal. The barrage pushes it forward. The passing plays, good clear out by Wisp, and a good strike war by Wisp to save it, but there's only so much you can do against Save Forever in the center of the net. The passing plays for PLX, and they reverse sweep the first set again. They did this last game too. They just reverse swept 2 games in a row, the first set.
That's not going to be extremely great for the side of Ember's Flame for the mental here, right? Setting yourself up so well with that 2-0 lead, but not able to translate it into a set lead. And you can kind of see it as well with the impatience from Wisp, trying to hold on to both of the barriers, ended up costing them both. Is going to be not a great situation to be dealing with. But Awakenings do come through, more speed and Stagger Swagger for Zay. Super Surge being denied off the Amy, but Amy very happy to pick an extra special here. Team player coming out for Josh to even continue to accelerate the play and the speed of the play as the explosive entrance finds its way onto Wisp, though, making sure that Mako speed is going to be able to add a little bit more to match that pure raw speed that the side of PLX will be having. A lot of damage coming out, though, and Zert again down to no HP.
Yeah, Ember's Flame, they've scored so many goals in this series so far. They seem to figure out how to secure the third one in a row, how to secure the set, because right now they just cannot close. Trying to find an opportunity here. Good strikes by Wisp, but Zay Forever is positioned so patiently, trusting in Josh, and Josh responds with a good pass to the bottom side to take the barrier. And once again, Ember's Flame trying to catch up, but the team player is going to start coming online. The late game insurance is there for the side of PLX, and they're just playing so cautiously, so carefully as they move the core up the field.
Yeah, and a beautiful flip from Vaga finds the second barrier. Zert again being rather low. A nice Giga Blast from Josh, though, intercepts the core, not allowing them to set up properly. Jay with a beautiful piercing shot runs up, though, and the strikes find their way past Vaga there. As Ember's Flame again find the first goal of the set. Are they going to be able to keep on this pressure down?
They need to keep it going. They need to use that meter on Wisp and Jay to its full potential, because 2 flips have been burned so far from Josh and Vaga, so that is a weakness they can exploit in the Sad Boys angle behind the barrier, but the Black Hole does stop their offensive push afterwards. What a save by Wisp. Calm and collected in the moment, making sure that that was not the death of the barrier, but that is, and with Zay having a flip, rushing for the core, Jay taking so much damage, but a panic flip by Zay. Not the opportunity they wanted, but they'll get another one. But Mr. Zert on the defense makes sure the core gets away for a moment.
Yeah, the core is on the side of PLX now, and Zert doing a really good job just shutting down any clear attempt. Ends up finding the barrier there as well, but the core still stuck on the side of Ember's Flame now as Vaga with a beautiful jump is popping that flip, and Zay is able to confirm it with a strike. Really good use of that Amy eject, and you can just see that power that Pick holds on this map, right? Just creating a situation where you have 3 forwards that's just so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, and on the top side, it's once again Mrs. Zert pushing up, but Mrs. Zert can only do so much, right? Outplayed the turret that time, but this time is not too successful at it with the passing plays coming out and the stacks on stacks coming online. Zay, Vaga, and Josh are gliding across the map with all the speed available, and Mr. Zert, comparatively, is a lot slower with the build different instead.
Yeah, it's just being played around a lot more than he would like to. And again, if that itself wasn't enough already, a lot of abilities still find their way onto Mr. Zert. Mr. Zert down to 100 HP again, just making it so difficult to really play this Kazan to maximum capability. So Ember's Flames are just going to continue to hold on the defensive end here. Mrs. Zerd almost being taken out though. Jay trying to set up for a barrier take, not able to find it though, as Zay's just continuously contesting so well. Barrage coming out to confirm the kill, as PLX is now in a power play situation with 2 flips. First one coming up from Maga, but not quite finding the barrier. With team player to Zay trying to set up to take the top barrier, not quite able to do so. Wisp does use the defensive flip here. Zay answering with an offensive one, but again, not able to find this barrier. Wisp doing really good, though, to hold on to this barrier, as now Ember's Flame are gonna try to find an attack.
Yeah, impressive defense by Wisp, holding that barrier down for so long, but in the process, Josh and Mr. Zert are both incredibly low. Josh healing up a little bit, Mr. Zert still very, very low, though. Has to be so careful. Good in Snare Drums. Keeps it away, and the Glitch Pop taking out Mr. Zert, but the Quangle from Jay blinking in and taking out the midfielder as well to make sure the power play does not continue. Good defense by Vaga, however, keeps the barrier up.
But a beautiful piercing shot from Jay comes out to just immediately take that second barrier, and then you're now looking at an open net on the side of PLX. But again, a beautiful aiming Glitch Pop continues to hold on this pressure. Wisp does find a way to sneak the core past Josh there, but it does find its way back again. Zay trying to set up with the Asher, does find the barrier, and now has a flip as well, uses it immediately to score, as they're now again 1 goal away from finding the second set here.
Oh, and that is so tough because it felt like Ember's Flame had control over that point, right? Wisp was playing so well, it was defending so consistently, but it just wasn't quite enough in the end. And once again, Ember's Flame early lead here, 2 barriers down. This could be their moment to bring it to a 0.5, but Vaga pushing in, make sure the barrier is taken on the other side as well.
Really swift, 2 barriers being taken, but Vaga immediately answering with one of their own there. Flip coming up from Jay here, not quite able to find the core, sadly, though. Vaga with the Amy, trying to jump up, has a flip as well if they do need it, ends up using it here to clear it out, and finds a beautiful angle past Jay as the second barrier drops. PLX again, trying to run up, Josh with a beautiful barrage. Not much you can do there as Wisp, as most of your abilities were on cooldown.
No, but
second set to PLX.
No, but that's exactly where Wisp need to clutch up, need to hit perpendicularly. That situation is the one situation where, as a goalie, you can make a difference and keep the set going. But it just didn't happen. It didn't come through. And once again, they're down 0-2. Vaga is playing so well. Josh is playing so well. And although they get the hot shot, the rest of this draft is going to be so devastating for the side of Ember's Flame.
Yeah, they do find, again, as if Josh wasn't already fast enough, another chrono pickup as well for him. Vaga finding a prime time as well to continue to hold up pressure. The hotshot's going to do a lot for Jay, but again, if you find those hits onto Jay, as that Estelle on that core, it's going to be so valuable. But it's just going to be so difficult to find those hits consistently when the core's moving so fast.
Real quick though, talking about the draft, I think Wisp just made a massive blunder. Josh was right after him. Chrono Boost went to the Kai when it's one of the best awakenings on Mako and one of the best awakenings on Kai. No deny, no pickup, instead going for the Siege Machine, which honestly isn't doing anything in this game. Oh no, Ember's Flame. They find 2 barriers though. Maybe it's enough, but the power play is there for PLX, and I think the scaling has fully come online. There's no win condition for Ember's Flame.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to play out at this point, right? You're trying to intercept cores, but they're just immediately being recovered by Vaga in the back end, or just being ran up by Josh again as the turret does come out here. Josh tries to push it in. Zert winning the strike cores necessary, though, as now Zert does have an opportunity to set himself up for a score here. Not able to find it. Jay trying to intercept, but not able to get past Vaga, as Vaga's doing such a good job on the defense end. Flip comes out, though, immediately intercepted by Zert, as Zert finds another goal for the side of Ember's Flame. But it's still going to be an uphill battle that he'll be fighting here, but an important goal for the set.
Yeah, uphill battle, but it's still doable, especially, we mentioned earlier, before the game even started, if Mr. Zert can get a 1v1 with Vaga, right? The Kazan does have a pretty good time versus the Aimi in the matchup, and an overpush by Zay does mean a KO found by Jay, does mean 2 barriers taken, and Ember's Flame need to take this one all the way through. So far, not quite getting it just yet, but Josh has flip available, and PLX have the ability to get this barrier. Both barriers taken despite the power play, and now the game's all the way back to even.
Yeah, Josh doing a really good job there to run up, but the control from the side of Ember's Flame does hold up as Jay finds a beautiful Estelle ultimate there to push it past Vaga. They're now 1 goal away from taking their first set of this series, but we've been here twice before, and twice it got reverse swept from the side of PLX, so they just really need to find this last goal here.
And part of it is also the stacks on stacks, right? The triple stacks on stacks. But wait a second, Jay might make a difference here, but the Strike War is just on the flip by Josh. 2 barriers taken. What a turnaround. They had 2 flips available, and now Jay's going to need to be a hero here, but Zay forever finds a Strike War. What a sequence of unfortunate events for Embers Flame. They have another chance, but the issue is, right, the stacks on stacks are only stacking up even more.
Yeah, it's just going to get so much more difficult to play, and on top of that, you did have a flip available. Now you're only sitting on 1 as opposed to 2. Jay doing a really good job, though, to immediately return that barrier. Zert being put down to low HP again, but Jay continuously holding this core. Flip has to come out from Vaga to defend this, but the attack immediately gets set up again for the side of Embers Flame. Are they going to be able to find the barrier, though? Zert trying his best to get involved, but it's just so difficult as you're trying to play through an Asher and Kai and an Amy there. Josh making the run up and not quite able to find the angle, though, and Jay is forced to use the flip there to not end up dropping to Zay, and now the energy advantage is on the side of PLX as they're trying to get the second barrier themselves.
Vaga is so patient on the strikes, though. The goalie discipline is coming in here as Wisp does find a clear this time, but a flip will secure the barrier. They're trying to advance it to another 2-2 as Vaga secures the KO. Another power play for PLX. They're pushing forward slowly, finding the passing play up to Vaga, through to Zay. One more opportunity on the top side, perhaps, as Wisp has built up so much meter, has a flip available now. Embers Flame could be holding on, but that glitch pop slows momentum. Mr. Zert trying to push forward, but the flip from Vaga forward. Mr. Zert manages to stuff it away and try to get a play forward, but the glitch pop again just continues to cut off so much momentum from Embers Flame. PLX are playing it so well.
Yeah, they're just making so good use of those early intercepts that Amy can bring, as Josh is trying to make a run up here, but it gets the knife from side of Zert here. Josh needs to be a bit careful. No evades, low HP, so Embers Flame might be able to look for a KO there, but enough time passes. Jay trying to get that force pass, but Vaga was just so much good striking timing as I immediately jinx it again, and the barrier does end up dropping. Josh trying to run up here with that Kai, not able to find the score, though, as it's an open net situation. Wisp barely able to find that strike there, but a beautiful jump from Jay, followed up by a piercing shot, is going to find them the first set of the series, and this is massive for momentum.
It is, because if they lost there, I think it was over. It would go to 2-2, the stacks available, and it would be so difficult to play, but exactly when it's necessary, Jay steps up, the star player of the team. And once again, it is a scary draft. Fight or Flight available, so many powerful awakenings available, and Twin Drive is going to be so scary, but not decided by Vaga, actually. Not going for the Twin Drive as Jekaimi, instead going for the Rapid Fire, a generally good pick. And what are your opinions on the rest of the draft?
I mean, the aerials are just going to continue to speed up Josh even more. Knife's Edge is going to make it a little bit easier for Zert to keep up. And the Twin Drive definitely going to be doing a good job for Wisp as well. But I do want to point out that Rapid Fire is not just a Rapid Fire. It's a Rapid Fire being backed up by a Prime Time. So all of those early interruptions that Vaga was able to do on that Amy are just going to be increasing themselves tenfold, as she's essentially going to have a primary every, 5 seconds almost. So it's going to be even more difficult for the side of Embers Flame to now find their way past the midfield to get this core into the barriers, as again PLX finds a KO on Mr. Zert and are sitting in a power play. Not quite able to find the second barrier, though, but they are setting up properly, applying so much pressure to Amy turret being needed there to not drop a barrier.
Jay gets past for the moment, but the barrier is still not taken, and Jay taking so much damage on the other end. If they can secure this KO, that would be huge, because the midfielder has been the linchpin of Embers Flame here, and Zay forever low on meter. Jay with a good blink to get out of danger, and Jay surviving despite all odds. A barrier take, but the KO onto Mr. Zert. A KO traded back by Jay, who has been clutch every single time it matters and heals just enough. Zay forever has disconnected. You got to play out the point, and Zay's back already. Vaga flipping forward. Jay with so much meter available as well. Good defense by Vaga, but the barrier is still taken, and Mr. Zert now in overtime has a big opportunity.
What an unfortunate time to disconnect there, as the barrier does end up dropping. But a beautiful Giga Blast from Josh is going to answer that, as we're now open goal against open goal. We do have 2 flips from the side of Embers Flame. Are they going to be able to use it? Wisp does have to use it there defensively to make sure that core doesn't go in. Jay trying to set up with the Estelle here, and the Hotshot ultimate is going to be enough to sneak it past Vaga as it goes as close to the edge as possible. And the first goal drops all for the side of Embers Flame.
Once again, if you're an Embers Flame fan, you know it well. you can't relax if they score a goal. You can't relax when they score 2 goals. You can only relax when they score 3 because anything can still happen. But so far, it's looking good. 2 barriers taken already. Wisp with the empowered strike, sending it forward to Jay, trying to set up an opportunity with this flip, perhaps with the barrier take. Mr. Zert snipes out the midfielder of PLX, and suddenly this power play is going to be huge for Ember's Flame.
Yeah, but Zay doing such a good job at just being disruptive up front. Vaga playing an offensive line as well, just not allowing the side of Ember's Flame to really set up in this power play. As Josh is now back on the field, Vaga walking up with the turret is going to allow Zay to set themselves up properly, but not quite able to find the barrier, as Wisp does a really good job defending. Mrs. Zert dropping, using the flip there, trying to find something, not quite able to. As Jay, though, with a beautiful jump and piercing shot, again, just finds these goals. And I feel like at this point, basically every single goal that has been found was just Jay with those piercing shots, no?
Yeah, this is Cell Pick coming in with so much value, but it also gets a little bit scary, right? Set 5, when the core speed picks up even more, will Jay be able to continue doing this? And maybe the answer is yes with the hot shot. Maybe Jay is the one bringing the core speed, but a crazy shot by Josh off the center finds the top barrier, and now Zay Forever can just slowly press up with the flip available. If they find one pass, this barrier could be gone. The comeback could start for PLX in the set.
Yeah, Jay ends up using the flip there to make sure that PLX are not quite able to put themselves in a position to take the barrier, but they do it anyways as Zay finds the flip. Open net now on the side of Ember's Flames. Are they going to be able to hold on to it as they find a double barrier here, though? Massive for the side of Ember's Flame, as Zert is trying to set themselves up for an attack here, but a beautiful glitch prop from Vaga is going to be able to hold on to it. Now PLX running up, a beautiful barrage is going to keep the core in, and followed up by an Asher ultimate, just takes Wisp out, and more importantly, that takes out Wisp stacks on stacks as well.
Yeah, that is huge. The less speed on the goalie is incredibly important, especially when the speed on Zay Forever is there. Being able to outspeed the goalie makes you able to win so many more interactions, makes it feel so bad as a goalie. But 2 barriers almost go down. The second one not quite there. Jay has gotten that second barrier confirmed so many times, but not this time. But Mrs. Zert is there to pick up the slack. Flip available, looking for the goal, blocked away with just strikes. And PLX hold on somehow, but Jay is still in position. Jay still has cooldowns. It's still possible as the power play is picked up. Josh gets taken out, 1 barrier down, but Zay and Vaga have a hard defense on their hands. But Mr. Zert can't quite find the shot. It bounces off the bottom terrain. The KO found by Vaga, and now Wisp has to face a 1v1 with Zay Forever. And Zay Forever, if you want someone in the 1v1, it is Zay. Or maybe it's Jay, but not quite that time, as it's defended away by Vaga.
Jay getting really close to flip here, though, so it's going to be very scary still for the side of PLX. Vaga needs to be careful to not overcommit, as a flip can just be so punishing. But a flip comes out from Wisp, and the beautiful barrage sneaks past to find the goal, as we're now, again, on a gold 5 situation. Again, we've been in sets like this before, where 2-0 leads were going for the side of Ember's Flame, and PLX immediately returns. Is it going to be another reverse sweep, or is the Ember's Flame going to be able to find themselves another set, a double barrier coming out? Jay with flip in front of the net. Are they going to be able to make use of it, though, or are they going to be taking out, as the HP bars are rather low? Flip has to come out from the side of Zay there. So otherwise the goal would have ended up dropping. Jay trying to go up, trying to flip, and shoots it straight through Josh to find their second set, and we're going to a set 5.
Maybe they aren't cursed. Maybe they can win the 0.5, because that's what they just did. And Jay getting the first pick is huge. Being able to pick up so much power here. Could go for the Catalyst, could go for the Deadeye, or the Perfect Form. What are your thoughts?
Oh, this is going to be rather difficult to say, right? Obviously, the Perfect Form is going to help a lot with cooldowns, but that is going to be more KO potential. That ends up opting for the Perfect Form, gives cooldowns, and then, more importantly, denies it off with the Asher as well. Big Fish, interestingly enough, going on to Mako. Never mind, not interestingly, because Catalyst Egoist is going to be on Zert now, and that's going to do so much for that movement speed that Mr. Zert needs, right? Being able to generate those Egoist procs more often now is definitely going to be able to keep him in the game.
Yeah, Mr. Zert, Catalyst Egoist falls down. That could be the game-winning combination, like you were mentioning. But they're putting so much damage onto Mr. Zert. They're one-shotting the guy, but he does get a chance to regen. Maybe an ability to recover here, but Vaga snipes out the core. Cyber Swipe into Glitch Pop for the top barrier. And if they can maintain this bottom barrier here, that would be huge. They do lose it to Jay, but they put on so much damage on Mr. Zert yet again, who stays alive, looking for a pull, looking for a crooked leverage. The defense is still there as Mr. Zert goes for an orb and has the flip available now. The Catalyst Ego is online. Shot to the bottom side. First goal for Ember's Flame.
And what a beautiful angle through the entire defense from the side of from PLX there, shooting it right past the turret as well before it gets a single shot out. And more importantly, that goal is going to do so much for your mental, but what else does good for your mental is being able to take out Zert almost immediately off of kickoff again, as PLX is just continuously holding down this pressure though, and trying to find the barriers, but Jay again intercepting so well on this Estelle, as PLX find the KO on Zert, finally. Jay does have a flip though, Wisp is getting close to it. Are they going to be able to use those on a defensive end, or are they going to be trying to hold on for an offensive angle here? Jay does use it, holds on to the bottom barrier here. Another great piercing shot comes out, not quite able to find the barrier though, as one barrier drops on the side of Ember's Flame. 2 flips now as well for the side of PLX. Are they going to be able to make use of those? No, Jay does find the barrier. The piercing shot just barely misses. Wisp does use the flip as well to hold the defensive end here, trying to hold on to this flip for as long as possible, as Zay tries to find a flip but doesn't get it past Wisp.
Josh needs to get in there. Josh needs to figure out a way to disrupt the presence of Jay right now, because Jay's getting in there with the Crystal Thorns after the Rose Warp. 2-0 now. Ember's Flame, they are so close to victory.
The victory is within their grasp as they're just 1 goal away, and Zert again really close to this flip. This Egoist prop is gonna come in. Are gonna be able to make use of it though, as Zay does find the first barrier. Another piercing shot finds that beautiful setup for the barrier. The flip comes out as well to double barrier just out of PLX, and now Wisp being overwhelmed by Josh and Zay, but holds steady, not willing to drop this barrier, as a beautiful jump comes out from Jay, and they find the goal, they find the set, and they find game 2.
Ember's Flame, they showed resilience in that one. It looked impossible. They made it all the way back. The complete opposite of the previous game. The next map is Taiko Temple. It will be pretty difficult, but I think they have what it takes, because that game, I think, was a statement.
That game was definitely a statement. They showed they are not done yet. They're not just gonna bow their head and lose 2-0. And I just feel like player of that game was just Jay. She did so much, right? You can see it in the stats. 10 goals, so many intercepts, so many barriers taken. Just so well executed from the side of Jay here. And that's the form that you want going into the Taiko Temple here to secure the series for the side of Ember's Flame.
Yep, it is a very solid game coming up, but Taiko Temple is going to be a little bit scary, I think. Before that, though, we're going to go to a bit of a short break here. Slav, anything you want to say before we go to a break and then go to Game 3?
Oh, just be ready. I'm feeling a banger of a Game 3 coming up, so just stay tuned.
All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And welcome back, everyone. We're getting ready for this game 3. I'm still here, Sloth and Saya still continuing to cast down this match with me. And we're already in the draft. We're already looking at Siege Machine and Spark of Focus. Do you have any picks in mind that might be higher prio as the first few already come through?
I don't think any specific picks, perhaps, but with the Asher pick by Ember, PLX I think do a very good job of denying away the Atlas here. Pairing it with the Rasmus, I think will be just solid picks in general on the map, and also taking away that comfort. I think Ember might have made a bit of a blunder here because they banned away the Mako, but didn't immediately pick the Atlas. So Wisp's pool is not as comfortable as usual. Of course, I'm pretty sure Wisp can play another melee goalie, right? They're not that difficult. But as a goalie, okay, as a goalie who hits pro league, yeah, you know.
You're just spitting facts, merely.
But I don't know. It's going to be a bit of a difficult game because I think PLX have a very good, solid duo, but Mr. Zert has displayed a lot of excellence on the Asher, especially yesterday, and I do have a lot of faith. There was a game on Taiko Temple, I believe, where he got 3 sparks, but Bozo Bunch, the team he was playing for, might have drafted the worst composition of all time, and they lost. So all good, all good. This time, this composition looks a lot better.
Yeah, that for sure. It's going to be a bit difficult still for the Asher to get past the Atlas, right? Atlas doing a really good job of just putting down that wall. But speaking of walls, the Dubu obviously gonna be quite of a fun pick to see as well. Do we think that Dubu is gonna end up going on to Wisps, or do you think there's like the slightest off chance that Zert might be toying around with a little bit of Dubu forward?
I think Zert and Asher are too linked for it to be Zert Dubu here. But if it were a different team with different players, I would be entertaining the possibility of that Dubu forward, of that Asher goalie. Who knows? It could still happen. Who knows? It could be Dubu midfield, Asher forward, and Amigo. It's not happening.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
It would be fun to ponder in the what ifs. But the most consistent and the most logical result will be that Dubu in net with that Amy midfield and Asher forward. Estelle coming in from the side of PLX there as well to end up with their comp. And I feel like PLX again just kind of drafted a very solid all-around comp, right? They have a lot of potential to hold control. They have a lot of potential to play for those intercepts, but they are not leaving out the potential of maybe finding those edge KOs with those piercing shots, with those pendulum swings from Rasmus either. So very interesting to see how these matchups are going to go. And also just very interesting to see how well a Dubu does, right? Out of personal experience, I feel like Dubu has a bit of a rough time playing down the defensive end against a team that will continuously pump damage into you. So we'll see how well that's gonna work out for Wisp here, as we're gonna be going into game hopefully soon.
Hopefully any second now. It looks like Ember's Flame might be last minute VOD reviewing at the moment, which is a little crazy. Hello, Ember's Flame. Can we get into the video game?
trying to get the last little bit of info out to set themselves up. I mean, it is an important game, right? Both of these teams are looking for every single win they can in the league, and sitting in a game 3 situation like this is always something that can be nerve-wracking. So, but hopefully both the teams are going to be pretty prepped to go into this game, although it would be a bit late for proper VOD reviewing at this point.
Yep, it looks like they're finally getting into game here. Big hopes for Ember's Flame and big expectations on PLX. PLX currently 2-0, a team that is expected to place highly. They're always expected to contend in the qualifiers to almost make it to the North American Strikers League, and this year was no different. This season was no different, so they have high expectations heading into the season. Ember's Flame also performed incredibly well in the qualifiers, 1-1 right now. So both these teams are seeking playoffs, and this game is super important for those playoffs chances, playoff seeding, etc.
Yeah, and even especially as well if it could be head-to-head situations, right? Those are going to be very important to end up winning. But we are loading into the game. Siege Machine only being picked up by Wisp, which does make sense. Everyone else being on that spark of focus as kickoff already starts, and Jay immediately puts up that pressure on that Amy pick. Huge KO immediately coming out from Xert, though, as they find the first barrier and are looking to set up to find a second one immediately after.
Yeah, Vaga though is Atlas, and Atlas on a single barrier does have a lot of tools, and a good strike war by Josh keeps it away for a moment, and a lot of damage on Xert as well. Both teams have a lot of accidental damage, a lot of chip damage as they go for the scoring attempts. So just defending will leave you a little bit low, as both teams also need to be pretty careful around the edge. Taiko Temple and all, you mentioned the edge KOs, and to set up in these corners, you do have to be pretty near the edge.
Yeah, the core is just continuously going to force you to those difficult situations. It just really comes down to if you have your await buttons ready, or you're just ready to get around it anyways. As the Tofu Fortress comes out from Wisp, completely shutting down that side of the field, but PLX immediately reacting to it, switching sides to try to set up and take this barrier. It's an even back and forth out right now. The hook from Rasmus almost being able to intercept there, but a lot of HP being dropped from the side of Ember's Flame here, as they need to be a bit careful to not end up dying.
Yeah, and with the chip damage constantly coming through, you're right in that it is a really big factor here. And Jay pushing up, finding a good flip angle around Vaga, and Vaga not ready for the bounce off the center. A great shot by Jay.
Making use of those middle drums on Taiko Temple to maximum efficiency to catch Vaga off guard ever so slightly and find this first goal is going to be so big for them, as the energies are rather even. Very, very slight advantage from the side of PLX, as Xert tries to find a flip KO. They're not quite able to do so as the attack does come through. Are they going to be able to find the bottom barrier here? Not quite, because you have to get past Vaga Atlas, and Vaga Atlas is not something you're just casually strolling past.
Oh, and Zay Forever pushing up just enough to knock it KO'd by the dash punch of Mr. Xert. Going for a little bit more here, but Mr. Xert's taking so much chip. Even the strike shot from Vaga to try and keep the presence on the offense, but the regen coming through, the orb coming through, and the Asher will survive for a little while longer. The barrier does not go down. An incredible hold by PLX. I thought that would touch the barrier at one point, but it really didn't.
Yeah, they're able to hold on and immediately translate into an attack here as well, as they take the second barrier, and a beautiful setup from Josh is going to be able to just put that past Wisp there as they even it out in goals.
Yeah, and once again, the damage pressure, like you mentioned, becoming a big factor. Both these compositions, not the first thing you think of when you think of damage, but especially on this map, they're both really, really effective in that aspect.
Yeah, they're just continuously shoving into those corners, right? And they're just gonna do a lot of coincidental damage, like you said before, with those Estelle piercing shots, with those pendulum swings. Same thing from the side of Ember's Flame as well, with those glitch pops, those turrets, with those cyber swipes, and the entirety of Asher as well. Definitely not holding back on the damage department, but also not being held back on as the side of PLX find a KO on Xert there. Power play coming out, and a beautiful hook from Zay is going to be able to take the second barrier, as PLX now has two flips. Are they going to be able to use them though to secure the goal, or are they going to try to greet for it? Not quite coming out yet. Zay trying to set up, not quite able to find it though, with the Tofu Fortress coming out. Good strikes coming out though from the side of Ember's Flames to hold on to this point. PLX might be a little bit too greedy to hold on to these flips for so long.
Yeah, I think they're really trying to score without using the flip, but they might be forced to use that energy pretty soon, as Josh and Zay trying to set up in position. Jay has the flip available, a backwards pass, has to use the flip to not get sniped by the piercing shot of Josh. A little bit of goofiness as they shoot to the middle, not quite there. A flip finally used, right through the uprights goes Josh, and PLX do find the goal, and they only use one of those two flips.
Yeah, the second one on Zay is going to have so much value going into this next point. Wisp is close to flip as well, but the question is, how much work is it going to be able to do for the side of Embers? But again, a beautiful core will sneak past Vaga there. Atlas doing his best to hold on to this defensive end. Wisp's Steelful Fortress being a little bit late as they play around. HPs are dropping again though. Xert down to half HP, Josh down to half HP. Josh doesn't have an evade either, so there's a chance there might be some damage dump coming out. But Xert again just really trying to hold on to life here, as so many abilities are being pushed into the HP bar from Xert.
Yeah, but Zert regens with the orb on the other side, still taking damage, but still surviving as Zay forever in a dangerous spot, looks for a strike or a win. Josh actually finds a late snipe for one barrier, and now Vaga has the ability to clear it away and does so. Switch Pop interrupts for a moment as Mr. Zert unstaggers, but that means the offensive play has continued on the other side of the map as Zay forever finds a late follow-up after the flip and somehow gets the barrier in the 1v2, and the revive is there for Zay, and that's the insurance that one side has and one side doesn't. The Atlas pickup doing a lot of work for PLX as they just make sure the power play isn't a thing, while Jay has taken so much chip as well. Now Zay looks for a dribble on the top side, a hit stun onto Jay to prevent the clear, and PLX played their advantages very well in this first set.
Yeah, PLX coming into this set now, showing that they are still confident that they are going in for the win here. They hold control of the core for a majority of the time, and they get rewarded with a first set with that, as we do have a few awakenings in here that do hold a lot of value. The question is, what are they going to end up picking up? The Fire Flight goes on to Estelle. Amy potentially picking up a Timeless. Build Different finds its way to Rasmus though, and that could be scary.
Yeah, so many good awakenings on the board here. Timeless Crater opted for by Vaga instead of Perfect Form is a little scary. And also Missile Prop gets picked after Atlas. I would think that Vaga would want to go for Missile Prop or Perfect Form, not Timeless. I don't see how that gives a ton of value. But despite that, I think Wisp very happy with the draft. Zay very happy with the draft, and Josh very happy with the draft. Of course, Super Surge on Jay is nothing to scoff at either.
Yeah, just gonna just allow Jay to have so much more KO pressure on that Amy Cyber Swipe, right? The KO being found on Zert though, Tofu Fortress coming out for Wisp there as well. You can really see that range coming into play there, as Jay again setting up beautifully to make maximum use of those Cyber Swipes to take the second barrier as well. And PLX seems to just kind of struggle to get this core onto the side of Ember's Flame, as they do end up finding it. Finally, they trying to take the second barrier, not quite able to, and Jay with a beautiful Cyber Swipe stuns Vaga, hits it right past him, and not much you can do at that point. And on top of that, Jay got a flip with it as well.
It's a Jay show. Every single Ember's Flame game, it's a Jay show. It is either Jay carries them to a win or Jay can't carry them enough to a win. And if that is the case again here, I think it'll be pretty difficult though, because PLX is playing the overall points very, very well.
Yeah, Jay just doing so much for the side of Ember's Flames, but again, PLX just consistently holding up the pressure a little bit more. A beautiful pass up to Zert, though. Will find a barrier as we're in a 1-1 situation. Wisp does a flip, does decide to use it as well. Jay trying to take this barrier, not quite able to find it, though. Does end up using the flip, but a beautiful hook from the side of Zay is going to immediately clear out that situation, as the core is again on the side of Ember's Flame, and I feel like that's kind of the trend that we have seen so far. Core just quite often being on the side of Ember's Flames, trying to defend, as every once in a while they find it clear, but are not quite able to consistently find it, as Wisps though makes use of the KO Dubu and finds the KO on Zay. Power play for the side of Ember's Flame.
Exactly what they needed here. Trying to find this barrier. They do find it off the bounce, but Josh sends the core to the other side. Doesn't quite get the corner bounce for the barrier take, but they're continuing on the offense. No hesitation from PLX as they put a lot of damage onto Zert. But Jay, what a snipe, and Vaga a little late on the reaction time. If there's a way Ember's going to win this game, it is once again Jay.
The Jay show just continues on. Another goal on her record here as we're going into this third point of this set, and it's been pretty convincingly the side of PLX that seemed to be holding the core, but for some reason I just couldn't get it past Wisp in the end, as the side of Ember's Flame found both of these goals. And again, another barrier drops as well on the side of PLX, but the core does sneak past, putting us into a 1-1 situation, and more importantly, a huge KO from Jay there to create another power play situation. The Atlas ultimate not able to get out in time, and again, Jay's so close to flip. Even if they don't find the barrier right now, just getting that flip is going to be able to set up for so much success here.
Yeah, and Wisp with a flip available now on the defense. A lot of insurance as Zay pushes up and Josh push up. But again, with that flip on Wisp, it's going to be difficult as it is burned there. The Missile Prop putting in work to block out the top lane. And Josh KO'd once again by Jay, who is just on top of managing the stagger of the enemy team. Vaga though with a great strike shot, halts the offense for a little while longer, has a flip on the defense sent to the other side. as Jay as well pushing up on the bottom side, trying to find an opportunity to pass to Mr. Zert. Passing around the world, but that's a weird pass, cutting off the offensive momentum, and now PLX have the core control. Now Zay has the opportunity to push up, trying to fight a strike wars, a good clear by Wisp, but it's still so difficult. They find a good roll though, and they get it away just in time. Top side now, looking for the barrier. It's saved away by Vaga, both goalies finding crazy saves to keep these barriers up, but finally it goes down on one side. A crazy bounce! Zay forever caught between the bumper and the tofu. Bounced a million times, but somehow still surviving.
They're somehow going into different dimensions in that moment, but holding on to dear life as they're now facing an open net. Are they going to be able to find anything though? No, Wisp finding the clean angle past Vaga there. 2 open nets now. Who's going to be able to find the goal first though? It's going to be rather difficult for the side of Embers Flame to get past that defense from Vaga as he's been playing so well. Flip coming out from Josh as well, but a beautiful hook from Zay intercepts the core and gets them that much needed goal.
Wisp is playing the hard situation so well, but in like the elementary goalie moments, when you see the Rasmus alone, when he hits to the top side and you see the hook coming, Wisp just makes such careless blunders. This guy is so good in the clutch, but in the elementary moments, it's just not quite there.
Yeah, and those elementary moments can just be game defining, but so far it's still looking pretty alright for Embers Flame, with the exception of the fact that Zert is being taken out and another power play for the side of PLX. Josh does have Flip. Wisp going up aggressively to flip it away, but not quite able to find a defensive power that they really wanted to here. The top area does end up dropping, and the second one follows suit as Jay now tries to set up for another Jay show on the offense, finds one barrier, tries to set up Zert, but Zert being immediately shut out by the Atlas secondary.
Mr. Zert taking a lot of damage here. The damage focus is real. Good elusive to stay alive on the bottom side as a flip out from Vaga. Good strike shot by Wisp to stop it in the midfield. Trying to find an opportunity while Mr. Zert stays alive somehow, but it's such a tough defense in the open net. A good Tofu Fortress to stop the core in the midfield, but Mr. Zert finally gets taken out. Jay with the flip available. Still going to be quite difficult though. A good cleared away from the piercing shots, as Jay has taken a lot of damage as well. Picks up the orb for a little bit of healing, but Zay forever is dribbling up the field, looking for the offensive play, but Mr. Zert respawns just in time. Crystal Thorns not quite there in time. Good save by Wisp on the top side as the core keeps bouncing around and around, and PLX need to find a scoring opportunity.
But they're not quite able to find it just yet. The defense from Embers Monarch doing really good to keep this core away from their half as much as possible now. Jay trying to set up, using the flip here, going for the crazy angle, but like not quite getting the results she was looking for, as the core's going to bounce back and forth again. The Tofu Fortress immediately shutting down any kind of play from the bottom, but Josh now on top with the core, with the piercing shot, with the flip. Is he going to be able to find something? Not quite. Zert coming back to help on the defensive end here as well, but they just seem to struggle so much to get past this defensive side of Embers Flame. But for Embers Flame having the exact same issue as they find this missed strike from Vaga there to find the second barrier. Jay with a beautiful jump, setting up Zert to find that KO, and now it's a power play situation for the side of Embers Flame as they're trying to find this set win. And the flip comes out from Zert, finding the angle past Vaga. 1-1 in sets.
They find the clutch, they find the hold, and Wisp is the MVP with so many touches on the core. Has the ability to pick up the hot shot perhaps, or the team player to try and accelerate the game forward, and team player will be the correct choice here. The passing plays going to come in huge to try and find the scores before damage pressure gets ridiculous. But Big Fish, more size on Zay is always so scary.
That is so incredibly scary. Double size on Erasmus is going to mean it's going to be so much more control coming out from there as well. 2 sparks also being picked up, coming together with that Spark of Focus start. Now, there only being 1 spark left in rotation. That could be a triple spark for either Josh or Zert there. And otherwise, everyone I think is pretty happy with their awakenings this time around.
Yeah, especially Zert, who managed to pick up that spark. Of course, Josh does as well, but I think it's higher value on the Zert here, especially as the scaling can come in later into this game. As a KO comes in onto Zay, taken off the top side, playing too near the edge on the offensive try as the barrier still stands. 1 barrier down on the other side, passing play to the top side, looking for Mr. Zert, who finds the dash in for the barrier. And now the passing plays with the team player can really come into play, but on Taiko, it could be awkward sometimes to find a direct passing angle.
Yeah, it can be very awkward, especially with all those bounces coming through. PLX tries to set up for an attack, but Wisp and Jay just doing so well to layer those strikes to hold that defense as Jay is now in front of net. Solar Expanse coming up from the Atlas. Jay needs to be a bit careful to not end up dying here. Probably looking for a jump, but the jump is not needed as Zerd finds a beautiful KO on Zay. Are they going to be able to find the goal here, though? Jay trying to set up properly. We're looking at close to 3 flips on the side of Ember's Flame here. Flip coming out. And the immediate punish from Josh as Wisp is not in position to defend this barrier as we're now open net against open net. Wisp getting bold, running up, but Zay again finding the edge of the map through Mr. Zerd's abilities. Flip has to come out from Maga here.
Yeah, Josh has the flip. Could be the clutch here, but Mr. Zerd pulls the trigger first. Well played by the Asher of Ember's Flame to secure that point. It was getting a little dicey, it was getting a little sketchy, but they pull it together.
Yeah, they really were able to calm themselves there and just find the clean goal. But energy levels are not looking all too great as the first barrier does drop. But again, another KO for the side of Ember's Flame. Zay just really having a hard time not being found by those edges with that Amy's Cyber Slide and that Asher just being such a threat. Power play does come out, but Josh doing a really good job to hold the core on the side of Ember's Flames. One barrier does end up dropping though, and now Josh needs to be a bit careful as well. Josh on 0 evades as well. Can be found to be KO'd here, but are they going to be able to do anything with it?
Passing play forward, Zay forever, pendulum swing in position, a missed strike by Wisp, oh no! It is 1-1. Ember's Flame are still in a good spot, but those are the mistakes that kind of hurt.
Yeah, they very much do not help, right? Those can be the difference. Those goals can be the difference maker of winning the set or going down a set. So you really do not want to be seeing as many of those. But again, the offense is starting to go pretty heavily into the corner. Jay has a flip now. Is she going to be able to make use of it, though, as the core bounces around the top of Fortress a little bit? A beautiful piercing shot from Josh coming out, though, to take one of the barriers.
Yeah, and Wisp this time playing a little bit more aggressively. I think that's doing well for Ember's Flame here. Stepping up the mid line is good for the Dubu, I think, especially if the Tofu Fortress angle presents itself for the offense. Right now, they've been purely on the defense. A good res timing by Vaga keeps it available, and Jay trying to find the bottom barrier here. Defended away by Vaga and Josh. They burn a flip in the process. It is whiffed completely, but it's still both barriers standing up, and Zay forever now pushing forward, trying to not use this flip too early. As the barrier attempt continues, a flip point blank, but Wisp with the timing manages to beat it out, and the barrier still stands for Ember's Flame.
The barrier still stands, and on top of that, the Tofu Fortress is going to lock this core in the top half. One of the barriers will fall from the side of PLX. Zay, though, with a beautiful pendulum swing, will find the second barrier as well. And another beautiful hook just completely denies Wisps from defending that.
Yeah, Wisp played so well at that point, right? It's like sometimes Wisp is the greatest goalie of all time, and that's exactly what Ember needs in those moments. They lose the points, but they need that kind of presence from Wisp again.
Yeah, the question is Wisp going to be continuing to hold up that presence? Zerd getting a little bit low, not quite able to get the core where they want to, and I'm immediately just lying as the second barrier just drops. 2 barriers up for the side of Ember Flames there. Never mind that. 1 barrier still up being for the side of Ember Flames. Maybe I should stop jinxing it.
Yeah, and Mr. Zerd and Jay, though, still have a good open net to try and score on. And, oh, Josh hits right into Wisp's log. What an own goal to bring it to 2-2. It's a 0.5.
I think Dubu might be a bit busted with that log finding that second goal of the set as we're now in goal 5. And again, this is going to be such an important point to find, right? Getting the second set is going to hold so much value for whichever team is going to be able to find this score. 1 barrier down on the side of Ember's Flames, almost 1 dropping from the side of PLX. But I think more importantly, what's been happening so far, the momentum has kind of started shifting a little bit onto PLX's side as soon as Ember's Flames were kind of stopped finding those KOs on Zay. As another barrier drops, another setup will come into play. Vaga holding that defensive line pretty well though. Josh and Zay both being really close to their flip. They can set themselves up to try to find this goal, but a turret coming out from Jay here, trying to get the offense going for Ember's Flame.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the key to this game so far. Josh and Zay stop getting dash punch for free, Okay, well, Josh just died,
Well
but
then.
it wasn't totally for free, okay? And when they stop dying, they have so much more core control, so much more presence, and they find a KO as well. Zerg just absolutely explodes, and now PLX have an advantage to get the respawn, to get a power play, they get the expanse, and now Josh and Zay passing play through the center yet again, and PLX clutch out the set.
And you can kind of see how important every single strike was, because if Wisp had one more strike on the core there, he would have had Flip to defend this, but not quite able to have it and defend that side, as the last spark comes into play now as well, and that's likely going to go into Josh with triple sparks.
Yeah, gonna pick up the triple sparks and deny away that triple spark ability from Zerd, who does pick up the adrenaline rush. They're all inning on those dash punch KOs. So if PLX get dash punch less, that's even more power being taken away from Ember's Flame. As the extra special, they're full counterplaying here. They want to get those revives. They want to make sure that Zerd never gets a reset.
Yeah, and it's a little bit scary as well, right? Because Wisp had to take away this Rampage to make sure that Zay doesn't get literally every Size Awakening rotation. But Zay's still very happy to pick up that stacks to just enable him even more. This Rasmus now becoming such a major threat in this game.
And Josh has so many stats to play with as well, so much speed as well. Just constant speed and no stacks required for the Estelle, the otherwise relatively mobile character. And the power is going to do a lot of work as well as they hold the bottom barrier. Mr. Zerd finally gets it through for the moment as the Tofu Fortress finally falls, but Wisp still holding on to that bottom barrier, and Vaga still holding on to one on the top side as well. The passing plays though, advancing up the field. Josh in position, good save by Wisp, but again it's a 3 character defense, it's a 3 striker defense again, and the offense just not quite there as Vaga stuffs it away with the expanse.
Yeah, the course is going back and forth. PLX trying to find an angle to get it through, and Zay does find it as the double roll just slightly goes past it. Open net now on the side of Ember's Flame. Flip from Zay as well. Flip from Josh uses it to find the goal and the KO. Finding this first goal of potentially the last set of the series.
They do have a decent amount of meter, but the side that has the immediate flips is... okay, I was going to say something, but Zay Forever already has basically stacks fully stacked up. That guy got so many touches on the core and got revived at the perfect time by Vaga. Those stacks on stacks being online basically already is devastating because you lost a point and now Zay is just stacking up, being so fast now.
Yeah, Zay's gonna be everywhere on the map, and if the speed itself wasn't enough already, again, keep in mind, that's a big fish and built different Rasmus. So all of those abilities are gonna hit heavy and gonna be so massive as a pendulum swing secures the second goal, second barrier there. Flip has to come out from Wisp there. Zay still has a flip on his own though. Is he gonna be able to make use of it? No, Zerd takes one of the barriers up top as Jay's trying to set themselves up now. Trying to find the second attack, not quite able to do anything with it though. Duperol does come out, Tofu Fortress gets pulled out as well to combat Zay's flip there. Jay's jump going past just barely. A beautiful strike shot though, defends it against Josh, but Zay being ready to capitalize on it immediately as they're now 1 goal away from taking the series.
An amazing save by Wisp, but the follow-up wasn't quite there on the defense from Ember's Flame. And Zay Forever capitalizes 1 goal away, like you said. All it takes is the passing plays to take the barriers. Wisp saves the top one for now. The Firewall Sentry used on defense even. That's how desperate they're getting right now. An important cooldown burned, a flip burned, 1 barrier taken. That was a double barrier angle, but Vaga manages to limit the damage to only 1.
That was such a beautiful attack, but an even more beautiful defense from the side of Vaga there. 1 barrier still up on the side of PLX. PLX also playing with 2 flips, and Jay getting rather low. Jay needing to be careful to not end up dying here. A beautiful attack though, takes one of the barriers. Is the core gonna sneak around? No, Vaga is able to use the flip to defend this top barrier. As PLX now are trying to set up for another attack. The Amy turret does come out though to immediately shut down any kind of attack play. And Amy trying to find the KO, but a beautiful ultimate from Atlas keeps Josh in play, and Josh has this flip as well. Is he gonna be able to make use of it and to get an attack going? Zay again getting really close to flip, and there's so much energy for the side of PLX here. Surely they're going to be able to set themselves up to find a barrier. But no, Jay with a beautiful jump is going to be able to find the second barrier. Jay has to use the flip here. Not quite able to find the way past Wisp though, as Jay is getting rather close to dying. Jumps back to find the orb. And the defensive end from Ember's Flames are just doing so much right now.
But PLX is passing around the entire map. The roll misses, and that's both barriers down. If they can find a snipe here, that would be huge, but they're so far off a flip other than Wisp. The Expanse covers the entire goal. A flip from Wisp to try and send it to the other side, but it's not enough as Mr. Zert and Jay, they need to find an opportunity with the team player maybe. Josh has a flip available. Such a big threat, and Vaga doesn't choose to flip actually. A clutch play by Jay keeps them alive.
What a clutch hit from Jay there. That is potentially a point that you're gonna look back on with rather bad memories if it does make the difference from Vaga here. But again, PLX still only 1 goal away. The Embers Flames do have to find 2, and we're on an even playing field again. First barrier dropping on the side of Embers Flames. Jay getting down to half HP. Not quite able to do anything other than, but the core does fly past to immediately equalize the barriers. And again, the energy economy is just so much in PLX's favor as they find another barrier. A flip coming up from Josh. Zay getting really close to flip as well, though. Jay trying to hold the score on the side of PLX as long as possible to give themselves as much of a fighting chance as possible, trying to fight for this point as Jay has flip as well. Vaga does end up using it defensively on their side. Zay now with the flip trying to run upfield, not quite able to as Jay is just gonna continue to hold this defense so well. Now though, PLX in front of the goal. Zay uses the flip, not quite able to find anything though with the delayed strikes as the defense somehow still holds up, and the Tofu Fortress again just immediately shuts down any kind of attack from the bottom.
But Vaga has the Expanse available. Looks so good at defending the barrier, that ability. Jay, though, intercepts. Big opportunity now, but the Astral Projection sends it away yet again. Zay trying to win the 1v2, passes back. Josh trying to bounce it around. Mr. Zert, so much presence. The strike not there from Zay as well. The pendulum swing backwards actually works out, and now Zay has a dribbling play. Good roll from Wisp to stop the momentum for the moment as the barrier is still up for Vaga. But it's so much core speed now, so difficult to track this open net situation, so scary for Wisp. Flip available still, but one good shot could change everything from the side of PLX.
Most definitely, and the pounce, no! Wisp's Tofu Fortress just pounces the core into the middle and is not quite able to react to that as the core does go in and PLX finds the 3rd game.
That's so tough. Both goalies. The last 2 points defined by them not using the flip button. But that one hurts a lot more. And a great attempt by Embers Flame, but PLX, they were the better team.
Yeah, PLX holding that control consistently throughout that game, so definitely a deserving win from them, but oh, that one's gonna hurt. That one is gonna hurt. You don't want to close out a game like this.
Yeah, but after that game, I think Embers Flame fans can have a lot more confidence for later in the season. They have a losing record right now, but PLX is one of those top teams in the league, projected to make it all the way after all. So definitely a great series and something to look forward to in later in the season when they face an easier schedule, because I think Embers Flame's schedule is a little bit front loaded.
Yeah, definitely still a good sign for them. That is for sure.
Yeah. PLX, on the other hand, advancing to 3-0. Expectations high, but they managed to meet them so far, and it'll only be like even more later. But PLX, interesting stat actually. Every single series they've gone to Game 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Exciting to watch then, no?
Exciting to watch, I guess. You never know what's gonna happen. But they have won all 3 so far. But with that, Sloth, anything you want to say before we head to another break?
Nothing in particular, just be excited because we have another really great series ahead of us.
Yep, Flying Blobos versus Ballin' Ballers up next. And Fly featuring Pensando, the goalie that might just be modern Magic savior. See you then. Hello, everyone, and we're back. We're here with Flying Blobos versus Ballin' Ballers. The map select's on your screen right now. The character select's going to be when we load right into game on Night Market.
Yeah, Night Market, fun game ahead of us for certain. We've seen how much Night Market can be played, how different it can be played in the first series of the day already. We'll see if that's going to change today. I feel like a major thing to be looking at here, though, is an Octavia pick on Night Market. We do love to see it.
Yeah, and Pensando, probably the most notable player in this game, had a very, very good Nassau performance yesterday. Won the series, the savior of Modern Magic, as I mentioned as we headed to break. And so is definitely the player to watch here, as another Spark start has arrived.
Another Spark start, but at this time combined with a Castellast, meaning you do have an Octavia that can run wild, but the barriers drop from both sides pretty fast already, as the side of Flying Blobos are trying to find the second barrier.
Yeah, and keep in mind, both these teams are probably really fake 0-2 teams. They have to face Pass and PLX, or Pass and PPL, or something like that. Some combination of those three teams for both teams here. So these are like pretty solid middle in the pack teams that are 0-2 just out of nowhere.
Yeah, and this is going to be an important game for them to set themselves apart, right? You had a rough starting schedule, but that doesn't excuse losing games where you have a lot of winning potential here. And just being able to start off the season not 0-3, but rather 1-2 is already going to do so much for you.
It's also interesting too, right? This is Octavia forward, not Octavia midfield, so the stuffing power not quite there for the side of the Ballin' Ballers. They'll really have to try and hit around Pensando, but I think Pensando is looking very, very solid in those goalie mechanics.
Yeah, Pensando's really holding on well there. It also has a flip available to them now if they do end up needing it, and a clean cyber swipe will also almost get that score, as Dr. Bebop will find that defense though.
Oh, but as you say that, right there, Dr. Bebop kind of hits it right into Alpha Me. The clear angle's a little rough, as Flying Blobos first goal, and I think they had core control for most of that. I think Pensando is dealing quite well with the Octavia.
Yeah, it's just so important that you can disable that Octavia as much as possible, right? Not allowing that Octavia to start getting those stacks going. And Pensando doing a good job at that, at just intercepting the core before it even gets to the Octavia consistently.
Yeah, and I think the scaling could be scary later in the game, but right now the Octavia relatively manageable for the side of the Flying Blobos, as Fire Madden right now just taking over the speed game in the midfield. An amazing bounce by Alpha Me off the center terrain, finds the barrier, and Flying Blobos once again look to be in control.
Flying Blobos regain control for certain, especially with that KO. Now in a power play situation, the Amy turret does come out, and Alpha Me just immediately closes out the bottom area there as well, as they find the second goal of the set.
2 goals down. They're looking to close this one out pretty quickly, as both sides do have a lot of meter. Maybe an opportunity for Ballin' Ballers to find a quick goal if they can find the barriers like that. A hit stun is enough. Both barriers taken. A flip in front of the goal. A KO found. What a play by the Ballin' Ballers.
That was just so controlled, scoring 1-1 almost, as they're coordinating themselves for a little victory march. Really well executed from the side of Ballin' Ballers, finding themselves a little bit more momentum into this game.
That's exactly what they needed. Maybe they can replicate it again here too if Dr. Bebop can push the core up. A strike war won by Big Anime Milkies. And once again on the top side, a lot of meter being built up by Fire Madden, trying to find an opportunity. But Dr. Bebop an own barrier, a tough angle after the pass splitter. And both teams are in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, really unfortunate Dr. Bebop drops that second barrier as well, but finds the clear now. Big Anime Milk is trying to set up on the offense, but not quite able to really connect to the core. A really good cyber swipe from Pensando, though, making sure that there's pressure. Flip has to come out from Fire Madden to try to get the offense going, as Alpha Me finds the KO and a power play now in place for the side of Flying Blobos as they find the goal and find the set.
A big set win. Well, it's more of like a must set win, you know? Like, if you lose the set 1 to Octavia double midfield, then the game might be completely lost. But instead, it is the Spark scaling coming in, and a big potential for them in this draft.
Yeah, there's so many Awakenings here that do just hold value, right? The rapid fire overall is so important, but you're also looking at just Octavia picks, right? Octavia has the option for Stagger Swagger, has the option to Super Surge, to Twin Drive. There's so much that he can go for. And Octavia does end up taking the Super Surge to deny it off of the Amy as well and get so much self-value out of it as well. Overall, though, second Spark for Alphamy is definitely also something that they're going to be very happy about.
Yeah, that second spark and the potential scaling later on is huge. But the Octavia Super Surge, the additional dash with the Castellast, going to be really big for the presence in the midfield. But I don't think the Ballin' Ballers have scaled enough just yet. I think Flying Blobos still have a lot more immediate power here.
Yeah, they really need to continue using that extra power that they have and extra control that they have, as they've been doing so far, to just take the second set and hopefully are able to then close out the game in the third set, because if it goes any longer than that, it's going to be very difficult to recover.
Midfield being controlled by Octavia, but a missed strike means that Alphamy pushes forward. Dr. Bebop doesn't have a strike, and once again the Flying Blobos are the ones scoring. The classic Ballin' Ballers dance. They do it towards their goal if they win, and they do it towards the enemy goal if they lose.
I mean, that's just proper team synergy being displayed there, right? Being able to coordinate something like that. As we're going into the next kickoff, though, no barriers have dropped just yet, though. Energy overall seems to be pretty high, though. One barrier ends up dropping from the side of Ballin' Ballers, as Flying Globals are trying to set up to take the second barrier. Big Enemy Milky still getting dangerously low.
A lot of damage onto the midfielder of the Ballin' Ballers, but the flow state is coming in, but still a lot of chip as Fire Madden tries to continue on, but the orb pickup will make it not so. The flow state continues, the Castellast putting in work. Alphamy, though, with a good strike board, might be able to stall it out, and it does get stalled out successfully. The Flying Blobos now have a lot of time to play.
It got stalled out efficiently, but the flip still is able to secure this barrier as Ballin' Ballers are now setting up to get on an open goal. Not quite able to get past Fireman, though, doing a really good job on the defense, or the control side on this midfield. As a flip as well, if he does end up having to use it, but a clean pass play from Blue Fox and Big Enemy Milky, our Milkies are gonna find that goal.
Yeah, the passing play right through the center. Pensando almost had the glitch pop, but not quite enough to find the goal. It's 1-1. And I think you have to be a little bit concerned if you're a fan of the Flying Blobos, because the scaling could come in even further here. The hit stun stopping Alphamy right in his tracks for the moment. As once again the top side opened up. A flip has to be burnt from Dr. Bebop, but the rebound caught by Fire Madden. Trying to find a little bit more on the top side here, as once again the base drop finding a barrier quickly, and the flow state still continues.
Flow state holds up, does end up getting dropped now, though, as now Flying Blobos are trying to set up an attack, but it's cleanly getting interrupted from the side of Ballin' Ballers. Trying to get an attack going, but it's going to be so difficult, especially if Alphamy finds this huge KO on Blue Fox here.
Yeah, once again, dribbling up. Alphamy trying to find a way to send it up to the top side here. But once again, it is Dr. Bebop holding on just enough, and so much chip damage onto Alphamy. But he's allowed to get the orb, and with that regen, I think they'll be fine as Fire Madden survives the base drop. And once again, 2 flips available, they push up.
And the flip does come out. It gets defended really well from the side of Ballin' Ballers, though, as now Big Enemy Milkies with the flip as well might set themselves up. But no, the core flies past directly into Alphamy's hands. And a clean self-pass into flip is going to find their second goal of the set.
Yeah, 2-1 now. 1 goal away from moving on. 1 goal away from making sure that it is not a longer game here. Well, it still could be, but lowering the minimum length of the game at the very least. And once again, I'm saying once again a lot.
It is, but you really can drive home the point here of, like, it's so important for Flying Blobos to find this set, to make as much progress as possible, to just find this win fast, because every single draft that is going to have to be played out is going to be another draft where Octavia can find those enablers and find that speed. Not to mention that both Mako and Now also just do really well overall in the scaling department.
Yeah, the passing play's coming through, but the speed not quite there, and Alphamy taking a lot of damage using the middle gate, but the pass splitter goes wide, and now Pensando in a bit of trouble, slowed down, trying to find an opportunity are the Ballin' Ballers as the flow state continues. The flip available from the Foxdio. Big opportunity to push forward, but the Now drone defused, the barrier taken, and the goal open. Flying Blobos need to be so careful on the defense here.
But they do find a beautiful angle through the speed gate from Alphamy there to take the second barrier, and a clean setup from Alphamy as well to just completely disable any kind of defense from Dr. Bebop.
Yeah, and with the set win, It is Alphamy getting first pick again, potentially even more sparks scaling, but no sparks to be found here.
Unfortunate to not find those sparks, but you still are looking at a few awakenings that are going to do a lot of work for you, right? The fight or flight or the egoist as well, setting yourself up for an even more movement speed. Mako definitely also going to be happy to pick up something here, denying the fight or flight off of Firemiden. 1-2 punch being taken up by Firemiden as well, and Aerial's going the way of Lufox here. Extra special on Amy though.
Yeah, that's scary. And Missile Prop now, that's an interesting pick on Octavia, though. Gives a primary a lot more reach. Might be what they need to poke past the Aimi of Pensando. But overall, not the happiest draft for the Ballin' Ballers, I think. But the Flying Blobos have the tools they need to close out the game here.
Yeah, it is, but that just makes so much, that creates so much more pressure onto actually winning this set for the side of Flying Blobos, because if it goes to another Awakening draft, there's still so many Awakenings that do so well for the side of Ballin' Ballers.
But they do find the KO, they do push forward, but they can't find a barrier. The defense is strong from Lufoxio and Dr. Bebop. Pensando pushes forward, but it's not quite there. And once again, the respawn comes in. The Flying Blobos can't find a barrier.
They're not quite able to get past this defense, as now Ballin' Ballers are trying to set up an attack on their own. The HP bar is also getting rather low on the side of Flying Blobos. One barrier drops. The Octavia speed still keeps up, but the speed doesn't matter if you've been taken off the map by Firemiden.
Yeah, the KO is good, but Dr. Bebop building up a lot of energy, and Firemiden trapped on the top side here. Alphamy trying to find a presence on the core. Weird bounce off the center. Thankfully, doesn't hit the barrier if you're a Flying Blobo fan. And once again, bouncing all across the map. Big opportunity for perhaps the Octavia. Not quite, as it's defended away. Dr. Bebop flipping it away. Pensando sending it to the other side of the map with the glitch pop. And a flip burn to not die from Alphamy.
And such a crucial flip to have to get rid of, to not be taken out there, right? That means you don't have it on the offense anymore, but it would be even worse if you're actually taken out, as one barrier drops on the side of Flying Blobos. They immediately return one now, though, trying to set up to find this first goal of the set. We're still on the first goal of the set. It feels like we've been here for about 3 minutes now.
A very long point here, but Alphamy, patience, looking for the dribble, looking for the second try, looking for the third try, but the ensnared drums denies it away from the Asher, and the missile prop snipe. Pensando wasn't ready at all.
That missile prop diff coming in the end there. Pensando not expecting that extra range and getting immediately punished from it. Really well played from Big Enemy Milkies.
Now trying to push forward here. Lufoxio, flip available. Big opportunity for the Ballin' Ballers to build up energy to try and find these barriers and score a goal, but there's a lot of damage you can put onto Octavia right now.
That damage is also important, but Octavia still holds that underrated KO pressure by just going through the edge, and clean strikes coming out from the side of Big Enemy Milkies here to take the second barrier as well. Ballin' Ballers are now looking to find their second goal of the set, and that is going to be so scary for Flying Blobos. Big Enemy Milkies almost dying though, with Alphamy now in the offense with a flip, but a huge Mako ultimate being able to take Alphamy out of the game.
Alphamy going down is so critical. Flip gone, Brawler gone, net open on the side of the Flying Blobos as Alphamy pushes forward, trying to do something off the respawn, but the speed comes in. The goalie zoned away, and the flip available from Aimi, but a missed primary from Dr. Bebop. Big opening for the Flying Blobos. Trying to find an opening here, looking for a bounce to the bottom side. The core goes around the world, the flip caught by Pensando, and Alphamy finds a shot to the top side. Sloth, are you okay? Did he disconnect? Okay, well, it looks like the connection to Europe is not the greatest here, and Sloth is not with us anymore. But, hello? Damn, okay, all good though. Fireman pushing forward, has a lot of energy, does elusive this time and doesn't get taken out, and Pensando aware of the missile prop this time, manages to save it away. Trying to find a dribble to the top side is Alphamy, flip available, but it is once again the Octavia finding the possession here. And Sloth, are you back? Nope. Okay, well, Sloth is not back still. All good. Fireman at the top side, looking for a dribble. Wait, I might be the one disconnected from Discord. Guys, I've solved the mystery. I'm going to disconnect and reconnect from the VC. Oh, it looks like Discord is dead. Hello? No route to the VC. RTC connecting. Guys, it wasn't Slav's fault. It was my fault. RTC still connecting, but it's both nets open here. Lufoxio trying to find an opening. Big Enemy Milky's looking for a shot with the missile prop. Fire Madden has so much core speed with the 1-2 punch as Pensando pushes forward. Looking for a dribble here. Discord says no route, but there is a route for Alphamy. Forward, not quite able to catch the core though, as Fire Madden's building up a flip. Pensando needs to be so careful to the bottom side, and it's the Octavia shot that finds the goal. Okay. Now I try the Discord VC again. It's not working. I'm gonna try a different VC. It's not working. Guys, I might be doomed. It's okay though, because the Octavia's in position, trying to find the dribbles here. Alphamy pushing forward with the flip available. Not quite enough. The flip too close to the wall and cleared away by the ball and ballers. They're trying to find a KO, but not quite found onto the Octavia here. Brought low, but not enough for the stagger. Looking like fake stagger. No, it's real stagger actually, but the heal up will make sure that the Octavia is unstaggered here. Dr. Bebop now bottom side looking for a dribble. Lufoxio, flip available. Trying to find an opening after the barriers go down to try and continue this game, as so much damage being put onto Fire Madden. Not quite enough here. Looking like, once again, it's a barrier take. Flip available to Foxio. This is what the flip was saved for. This is what the score comes through. And Ballin' Ballers survive. They go to another set. Alright, this time the VC will work, right? I'm just going to call Slav. Maybe that'll work. No, it's not working. Discord's dead in my region. Oh, no, it's over. Anyway, Spark picked up, Spark denied from Alphamy, stopping the scaling in his tracks, and Octavia gets a dash awakening anyway. Of course, the size is good, but the Monumentalist might just be better in the midfield. Team player, though, something to watch out for. Get to the top side. Explosive enters the Monumental.
I think we're back.
Oh, we're back?
Hello?
Okay, it was my it was on my end, not your end. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Either way, we switched the servers. It seems to work again, and you can take a break as we're going into this play. The one barrier has been dropped on the side of Ballin' Ballers as Big Enemy Milky's is trying to set up to take this barrier. Getting rather low on the HP though. Needs to be careful to not be taken out, but the flow state is going to continue to play on as it's just so much pressure being exerted from this Octavia pick. But the HP is just so scarce. You need to be careful. An important door pick up there as now Flying Globals are trying to set up this attack, trying to get this barrier, and they do successfully find it. Dr. Bebop almost being taken out as Alphamy also gets rather low though, now down to a stagger, but the KO force from the side of Ballin' Ballers might not be enough to actually end up finding that KO as Big Enemy Milky's is trying to set up, trying to take this barrier, not quite able to find it though in the end. They do have a flip available on there now though, now almost being taken off out by Alphamy, but not quite as we're now in an open goal versus open goal situation. KO found from Dr. Bebop though.
Yeah, but when this respawn comes in, there's a big win condition here, but forget about that because Lufoxio has flip. Shot to the top side, flip in front of the net, defended away by the barrage of Fire Madden, looking for a bounce play off the center. A crazy bounce, not quite enough to get the goal, but the combination I'm talking about is the 1-2 punch and the team player on Fire Madden, but forget about that. It's once again the Octavia rushing in with the flow state, finding the goal. Didn't even use the flip, 2 flips available for the Ballin' Ballers.
And that's exactly what we were so worried about in earlier sets, right? Not being able to close out this game for Flying Globals, and now the Octavia is going to continue to scale. It's going to continue to have so much more pressure. Fireman doing a really good job to find that barrier, but it gets answered by the side of Ballin' Ballers almost immediately.
Yeah, and once again, the passing plays coming through from Flying Blobos, but a really nice core flip from Dr. Bebop saves it at the last possible moment. Now Alphamy on the top side looking for an opportunity to find a core forward. Pensando the same, but blocked away by Dr. Bebop's primary. The uncharged primary perfectly enough to save the barrier, and once again, a good clear out. And this double midfield's coming online, cutting off the lanes in Night Market and making it so that Alphamy can't get a clear pass from Fire Madden.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to get the score all the way up to this Alphamy Asher. But the Octavia, again, taking so much damage. Big Enemy Milky's does have a flip. Is he going to be able to use it offensively to take the barrier? He is going to find it. The flow state still being up, and you can just see that speed. It's going to continue to scale, and it's just not stopping as another orb is going to be picked up from the side of Big Enemy Milky's. And The flow state does end up dropping here. Flip comes out from Lufoxio, but it's still open net against the one barrier, and a beautiful intercept with Octavia Primary finds the second goal of the set. And if I'm Flying Globals, I'm starting to get really worried for this game.
They're starting to sweat because this is a scary situation. You're heading into a potential final set where the draft is devastating, and because you're not going to be winning if you head to the final set, Alphami's spark scaling is going to get denied, right? So that isn't a possibility either. And it is just an overwhelming Octavia offense right now. Both barriers taken in one fell swoop. The primary is perfect, and we are headed to Doomsday for Flying Blobos.
That Octavia speed is just so much. Pensado did try his best to save that core, but you just hit it to the other side, and Octavia just immediately runs to it. Octavia first pick, and we have so much here. Chrono Boost, stacks and stacks knives. It's likely going to be the Chrono Boost though, and a Cast the Last Super Surge, explosive entrance, Chrono Boost Octavia is not something you want to be dealing with.
Stacks on stacks at the very least, a little bit of speed back in perfect form as well. A Spark of Resilience, a clean deny away from Alphamy, who will have to just take the unstoppable here. It's a rough draft for Flying Blobos. It's a rough game for Flying Blobos. Need to find something here, maybe with the core speed from the 1-2 punch team player from Fire Madden, because this game, it does not look easy.
Yeah, I mean, Octavia has on baseline has so much speed. You have a Now supporting that speed even more. You have a Mako supporting that speed. It's going to be nearly impossible to really out-control them. What you have to do is what they're doing right now. They just have to say, okay, we're just going to force it through you with that Asher, with that Kai, as they find one barrier. But again, so swiftly answered from the side of Balling Ballers.
Yeah, the Aimi goalie is good, but it's kind of feeling a little weak against this particular composition. The double midfield having a good time striking around Pensando. As the core speed picks up, it's also very difficult for Pensando to find some presence here, as the Missile Prop primary kind of mixes up the timing a little bit, but it's saved away. Once again, Alphamy trying to advance, but the double midfield just making it so that the passes just don't get to Alphamy.
Yeah, but a really nice evade from Alphamy there, by the way. Denied Big Enemy Milkies from continuing on the flow state, as now the attack is coming out. Pensando with the eject button, trying to assist, but not quite able to find it. And like you said, that core, it's just so difficult to get it to Alphamy. Flip coming out from Dr. Bebop, though, to save that barrier. Pensado has to flip here, but it gets interrupted so early from that Now primary as well. And we're having another flow state on Big Enemy Milkies. Alphamy has a flip available. Are they going to be able to use it to secure the second barrier, though? Not quite yet.
Yeah, this flow state is going to be hard to take away with all of the duration. Even the primaries alone are keeping up so much uptime. But the barrier is taken, flips available, team player speed in front of the net, and that's exactly the type of point they need. A late game point where Fire Madden can sneak it through with the team player 1-2 punch, and Alphamy can convert. And because these points are guaranteed to go long, that's going to be a lot of meter built as well.
That's going to be so much meter for you, but at the same time, that's so important to find that first goal here. You don't want to be in a situation where you have to get 3 back-to-back goals, so finding the first goal of the set is huge for Flying Globals, as Lufoxio is now getting close to being taken out of the game even, but the Anime Milky's just giving us an Octavia masterclass, double barriering really swiftly. The Octavia speed still being up, forcing it against the turret, but taking a lot of damage trying to keep the core up there, and it ends up finding their way on the defensive end from Ball and Ballers anyways.
Bottom side now, Octavia looking low. Maybe a KO attempt could be great here, but the abilities aren't very targeted. They're just looking for the score here. Fire Madden in position, Alphamy in position, saved away by Dr. Bebop, who has the flip as insurance. The pass splitter approaches. The damage onto the Octavia isn't quite enough as the flow state comes back once again. So much speed. The orb picked up on the drive-by. And now the Octavia speed is becoming a little overwhelming, as a shot from Lufoxio set up in advance is what takes the goal.
Never mind the core speed and the speed of Octavia if you have a Lufoxio primary set up to just cleanly score that, as we're now 1-1, and more importantly, there's 2 flips available for the side of Balling Ballers. So rather difficult now for Flying Bubbles to properly execute this. The flip comes out from Dr. Bebop on the defense vent though. Alphamy though returning with a flip and a clean pass to Firemadin sets up another offense. They find the barriers, but a huge defensive side from Ball and Ballers keeps the ball in play as they're trying to get an offense going. But again, Firemadin just holding this midfield control and finding a massive goal for the side of Flying Globals.
The team player 1-2 punch once again appears in a crazy strike war by Fire Madden. Brings them 1 point away from closing out this game. A dangerous draft position made this game very difficult, but all can be ignored, all can be forgiven if one more goal is found. The core speed still in their presence as well, but amazing block by the Octavia primary. That ability is so good against core flip, and right there it finds a barrier.
It finds a barrier, but only one, and the Octavia now need to be a bit careful as they are pretty low HP. So is Alphamy. Alphamy one bar away from Flip as well. But a huge barrage from Firemardin secures the double barrier, and Firemardin has Flip as well now. Is he going to be able to use it on the offensive end? Finds a clean angle, and Dr. Bebop doesn't use his Flip. And that's it.
That's it. Okay, but you saying that reminded me. What is it about goalies not using Flip?
Listen, you just gotta keep it for the next game. It's gonna come in handy, I'm certain of it.
But like with the last series ending with 2 points, that were goalies not burning Flip, and now this as well. That's so tough, but well played by Firemardin and Alphamy. The offensive duo, the passing plays were so clutch in bringing that game under control.
Yeah, really well played in a game that feels like shouldn't have been winnable for the side of Flying Blubbles anymore, due to just the pure scaling that Bowling Ballers has. Still found its way into Flying Blubbles' hands, and they gotta be happy being able to get a victory like this. It's also not gonna be a very great thing to be dealing with if you are Bowling Ballers, right? You've been given basically all the tools you need on that Octavia pick to just shine on it, and you weren't able to to bring the results in this last set of game one.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very difficult. The defensive holds were amazing too, right? Dr. Bebop and Lufoxio in the top corner held so closely against the pass splitter and Alphamy, but unfortunately, eventually Firemardin gave the team another chance. So it just the offensive duo playing so well, and Pensando, of course, was pretty neutralized by the draft, right? Picking the double midfield, picking the Octavia made it so that Pensando couldn't really shine in this game, but did enough to get them across the finish line.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm going to be interested to see what's going to be happening now as well, right? Game one going to Flying Blubbles, but that was Flying Blubbles map pick as well, as we're now moving into an AtLab game, which was Ballin' Baller's pick. Do you think they have any like specific game plan and kind of draft plan that they would be trying to go after on this AtLab?
I think it's very Awakening dependent, because the Ballin' Ballers saw the cast last, and that's why they picked Octavia, I'm pretty sure. Flying Blobos, on the other hand, I think they're very flexible. If the Juno's up, they'll be very happy because Pensando is a bit of a star on that pick, but otherwise it's probably going to be banned by the Ballin' Ballers, and I'm not sure exactly what their draft strategy going in is, but I think Alphamy succeeds a lot on the Asher. He has played a lot of Zentaro in the past, so that could be an option as well. And of course, I think he's familiar with most of the other brawlers, so a pretty flexible player. I think pretty flexible players all across the board.
All right, so it's really gonna come down to the Awakenings. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll get a clean defined draft when it's a Dead Eye start or something like that, or we just get another situation as we did in last series where we do have a pretty open play as we get a Spark of Agility extra special start.
So many spark starts today. It feels like every game was a spark start. Like, what happened?
We just love scaling.
I'm gonna check real quick. Out of the 5 games we've had on stream so far, 4 have been spark starts. That's crazy.
It's Spark City. That is actually crazy. Wait, what's the probability on that? Is actually insane. No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Definitely very low. But the map is Atlas Lab, like you said, and the Ballin' Ballers are going to head on over to the X, perhaps pairing it with some kind of Mako here. It could be the Era, but I think picking the Mako here could be good, but I doubt the Mako will be denied, because that Estelle is probably Pensando. Sorry, not the Estelle. The Aimi is probably Pensando's anyway, so they could just pick midfielder here and let Mako drop down. But they picked a Luna. That's Luna goalie, I think.
Luna goalie with extra special is always a joy to behold. All of these ultimates coming out and just continuously making everyone pay the evade tax. So, but this sends a pretty clear message what Bowling Baller is going to be playing for, right? You're picking in the X, you're locking in the Luna, you're looking to take Flying Blubbles off the map. You're looking to KO them as much as possible and play off of these man advantages.
Oh, and now it's the Vice coming in, And now I don't know. It could be either pick going to the midfield. It could be either pick going to the goalie, actually. But either way, what you're saying is exactly what's going to happen. A ton of damage pouring in. And we'll see if Flying Blobos can score fast enough, because their comp is all about scoring.
Their comp is just all about scoring. You're just trying to control the entire game plan and just trying to get it past that defensive side of Ball and Ballers. The downside of going such a KO heavy comp, right, means whichever you're on, you're going to have in goal, whether it's the Luna or the Vice. The defensive end isn't necessarily going to be the strongest. So trying to get that past with Erasmus with him now is not going to be the most difficult task ahead. The question is just, are you going to be able to stay alive long enough to do that, because you are dealing with an extra special Luna and an extra special Vice most likely. So off of round start, there's going to be a lot of damage that is going to be pumped into you. And if you don't have your evades, that's going to be a pretty difficult time.
We'll see if they can manage that. The scoring presence from Flying Blobos is expected to be pretty high in the early sets, right? But as we head into the later game, similar to the last game, I think the power of the Ball and Ballers does increase the later we go. So pretty similar dynamic, except completely opposite in terms of like the actual outcome of it. It's damage this time, it was core control the previous time. But either way, the Ball and Ballers are looking to scale.
They are looking to scale for sure, and there's just, again, just so many awakenings that can go into those drafts that can just immediately swing this matchup into someone's favor, right? A Deadeye finding their way to Balling Ballers would be absolutely massive. Or even just an Adrenaline Rush as well could just accelerate that KO comp so much, as everyone's picking up extra special, with the exception of both the forwards opting to start stacking those stacks as parts.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense too, right? Because Fire Madden wants the extra special to mitigate the damage coming out from Ball and Ballers, and Pensando wants it for the Firewall Sentry, just a generally good ability. And it's pretty self-explanatory for the Vice and the Luna, trying to get those massive circular explosive abilities. A lot of elusives being burned early like you expected, but what was less expected was the damage pressure onto the X here, which is just a lot of chip damage coming in from the Brawler and the Now and the Aimi, all chipping down whenever the scoring attempt is coming through.
Yeah, you would kind of get confused who the actual kill comp is right now, as the damage pump from the side of Flying Blobos is just so potent. But it's still no one been taken off the map yet. And the second barrier just dropped on the side of Balling Ballers, and 2 flips available for Balling Ballers as well. One coming out, and Zara just being able to catch that one though. Alphamy needs to be a bit careful though, getting put down into stagger. Not quite able to get hit by that Now ultimate either, as now Big Anime Milkies is trying to secure this KO.
Can't quite get it, and the barriers are still open for the side of Ball and Ballers as they try to push forward, but Fire Madden blocking it in the midfield, keeping the core on the opposite side of the map here. Once again, Alphamy pushing forward, the core control coming in, looking for a hook, looking for an opportunity to pass down to the primary. Not quite enough as Alphamy, right before getting stunned, takes a good shot and finds the first goal for Flying Blobos.
Alphamy just really analyzing that situation well and just finding that gap in between Lufox and Dr. Bebop's defense. And Flying Blobos have got to be happy finding this first point, right? Especially considering the fact that all 3 of their members are really close to finding a flip on their own. Pensando having to use it on the defensive end, not able to hold on to the barrier. Second barrier also dropping, as Firemadin now is at the mercy of this KO comp. Pensando also on 0 evades. Needs to be really careful with this positioning.
Oh, but a great glitch pop catches the core, stalls the game out for a little while longer, and Alphamy flip available, doesn't use it just yet, doesn't need to. And the clear comes through as well. Pensando pushes forward aggressively, finds the barrier. Alphamy now, bottom side, mixes up Dr. Bebop, and finds the goal. What a recovery for Flying Blobos, despite being staggered, despite being KO'd.
Really well executed. Pensado making sure that Court keeps an enemy side, and then Alphamy calm and collected, just making maximum use out of those abilities. But Lufoxio showing us why the Luna pick is very, very lethal. Finding a KO, and immediately also another KO for Big Anime Milkies. 3v1 power play for the side of Falling Ballers.
But the respawns come in. They don't find too much out of it other than that initial top barrier, and Pensando trading back. This aggressive play on the Aimi really coming into great effect for Flying Blobos, as the passing plays as well are arriving from Fire Madden and Alphamy. Trying to find another pass here, but with the X Maximus in the midfield, going to stuff up that lane and make it so it's difficult to get past, but a good Strike War win gets it out of there, and the Flying Blobos trying to recover, but the crossfire, the bull rush, the barrier taken, Alphamy staggered.
And while Alphamy was getting staggered, Big Anime Milkies took the second barrier there as well, as they're now facing an open goal, and Alphamy is just so difficult to really get involved at this point, right? But does find the crucial secondary there to take the second barrier, as we're now open goal versus open goal. Alphamy, still low, has 1 evade to their name. If they do end up having to use it, Pensado holding onto a flip as well, maybe try and find that Amy jump to flip it in. Gets the cyber swipe, puts down the turret, but the core does still fly within control of Balling Ballers as a flip comes out from Firemedin, but Firemedin again now 0 evades, half HP, and a KO is found on Alphamy.
Alphamy and Dr. Bebop had a bit of a 1v1 there, but Dr. Bebop walks into the now arrow, just dies out of nowhere, and with the goalie gone, it's a big opportunity for Pensando. A lot of stall out here possible, a lot of time being bought for the Flying Blobos, and now Firemedin's in such a good spot to just control the midfield, but it goes all the way to the X. Pensando needs to be a little bit careful. They still do save it away. The Ballin' Ballers in a lot of trouble, but Big Anime Milky still staying alive here as Firemedin pushes forward. Another opportunity for the X, but the passing plays continue. The core control on lock, the flip available, bottom side, Alphamy, not quite enough to find the goal, and now the Flying Blobos have to be a little bit concerned.
Flying Bubbles need to be a bit concerned here, but overall it still feels like it's generally under control, right? You do have Balling Ballers with Big Anime Milkies not really able to partake in anything, and Pensado is just doing such a good job interrupting the score so early on the Amy, making sure that Big Anime Milkies is not able to set themselves up for a scoring opportunity, but the core just flies back and forth continuously as Pensado again holds it defensively, and Alphamy sets up perfectly to get it past Dr. Bebop to take the first set.
And you mentioned the aggression, and I agree. Pensando is just walking up to the brawler, and that's exactly how you need to play those situations, because if the brawler gets full control in an open net at your back, unless you have the glitch pop, it's kind of doomed. And now with Deadeye being picked up, an amazing first pick for this Amy, and an amazing deny away from both of the ranged characters on the side of Ballin' Ballers.
Yeah, the Fight or Flight finding its way onto Luna, though, is definitely going to help with that mobility, and Super Surge is going to hurt so much when Dr. Bebop finds those secondaries. But I don't think the side of Flying Bubbles is going to be very upset at that, as they find a Stagger Swagger for Firemedin to keep him alive even longer, and even more control for Alphamy with that size. Big Anime Milk is definitely not going to be upset at picking up an Egoist either, though.
Yeah, that's a scary awakening to look out for, but the Deadeye on Pensando does mean that the damage pressure swings back around, right? This Amy has a lot of damage potential as well, but the core control coming in from the X this time, scoring pressure as Firemedin makes the save. Alphamy taking a lot of damage, but staying alive for the moment, and the healing should come through any second now for Alphamy, but no, used for the speed, trying to find an opening, and Pensando, good aggression usually, but that time steps a little too far up.
Yeah, Big Anime Milk is really reading the situation well and saying, hey, look, if you're being this bold, if you're walking up this far, I'm just going to hold my abilities. I'm just going to hit it right through you. Because there's not much you can do in a direct 1v1 like that, right? You're kind of resolving yourself to just winning the strike war. But if X sets himself up with that ultimate, with that dash, it's just going to be nearly impossible for Amy to just win using only a strike.
Top side, Alphamy pushing forward, and the stun actually sets up perfectly for the Rasmus. If this Rasmus can stay alive, if Alphamy cannot get too much damage put onto him, that would be a little bit huge. But Firemedin is the one who's low, forced to heal, and with the Egoist speed, Pensando is the one who's vulnerable. Firemedin almost steals the orb, but realizes at the last second, and now, with the net open, big opportunity for the Flying Blobos.
Big opportunity, but it does still get an attack going for the side of Balling Ballers. And keep in mind, Balling Ballers has 3 flips as well. Are they going to be able to use them, though? First one coming out from Dr. Bebop, but immediately gets answered by Firemedin. Firemedin then also getting answered by Lufoxio. And Big Anime Milky's in the end trying to flip for the score. Not able to find it. Pensado and Firemedin doing a really good job at defending there, but Dr. Bebop with the clean jump forward on that eject button Super Surge is able to assist just enough to find the second goal.
3 strikes in the goal box from all 3 members of the Ballin' Ballers. Such a scary situation to deal with, and it does end up finding the goal there. 2-0 lead, and the damage scaling could come through if they secure this one. Double barrier denied by Dr. Bebop, a great clear, and the Ballin' Ballers only lose 1 barrier.
Only 1 barrier down. There's a mix of HP bars that are getting rather low, though. Lufoxio needs to be a bit careful. is able to assist on a defensive end, but it's down to roughly 100 HP. Alphamy also on no evades. Needs to be careful to not get hit by this black hole. Big Enemy Milky is rather low, and again, it kind of feels like the KO comp is kind of switched, as Balling Ballers have one member staggered and the other one about to. Pensado barely missing that strike, but a third able there to save it. But again, a KO being found by Balling Ballers, and a power play now, even though they did lose the barrier.
But Fire Madden on the fadeaway finds the barrier, and with the open net, so much damage on the Pensando. But if they score here, all of that doesn't really matter if they reset the situation. The goalie down, but if they can keep the core under control, they won't need a goalie, but they can't. But what a miss! Sad Boy's angle. A barrier is taken afterwards, and they do look for the goal here, but without that immediate barrier take, it is the respawn coming through for Pensando, and a good shot by Alphamy, and that miss is coming back to haunt the Balling Ballers.
Oh, that is such an unfortunate angle to be hitting there. You could have been done with this set already, looking into this into Awakening drafts, but Flying Globos coming back from that mistake, from the fortunate mistake on the side from Balling Ballers, but Balling Ballers immediately answering, saying, you know what, that was a mistake, but we don't care. We're just going to score on you anyways. Get both the barriers. Did end up losing one of them, but are trying to now set up to maybe make use of Big Enemy Milky's flip here, or Dr. Bebop's flip as well with that eject button. Fireman doing a really good job holding onto this core control though, uses flip to take the second barrier, and it's so difficult, it seems like, for Balling Ballers to again connect this play all the way up to Big Enemy Milky's. It's just kind of being guarded by both Fireman and Alphamy, but a beautiful flip angle from Dr. Bebop does get it through, and Big Enemy Milky's calm and collected puts it into the edge of the net, right past Pensado.
Yeah, flip to the top side, perfect bounce, and now the scaling really comes through. 2 sparks available. It's a little bit of an awkward draft, but it looks like the Spark of Resilience probably going to go over. The tankiness so valuable in this game. Yeah, that is exactly what is going to be the scaling for the X here. But plenty of other Scary Awakenings too, right?
Yeah, I mean, the rapid fire, no matter who picks it up, it's just going to be so much more damage being pumped out. Missile Prop may be finding its way onto Luna here as well, which is not Unstoppable being picked up by Luna, going more so for the survivability aspect, less than the damage aspect. And Alphamy is still very happy to pick up another Spark for himself, as the only Spark left in rotation, I think, is Spark of Focus.
Yeah, whoever gets that will get so much power too. And it leaves a lot of question marks heading later into this game. So much damage onto Alphamy, comboed by the center and by the members of the Balling Ballers. But Pensando consistently pushing up aggressively. This map a lot more friendly to that kind of thing than the previous, it looks like, this matchup at the very least. And if Pensando can get forward pressure, I think the Flying Blobos are happy.
They're gonna be very happy, as they're now trying to set up again to try to take the second barrier, but the defensive side from Balling Ballers is just doing such a good job to not really allow this easy force past them. A lot of abilities being used, damage being dumped as well, and you can already see like the value of the Resilience Spark, by the way. Big Enemy Milky's taking so much damage, but just by having 2 sparks and one of them being Resilience, there's just so much HP that I need to go through. So whereas before Big Enemy Milky's had a lot of issues staying alive, that's going to be very much less of a factor this time around, as Pensado is being close to dying as well and gets found.
KO found, goal found for the side of Balling Ballers. They look like they never left. They look like they've scaled enough, and they look like they have 3 flips for the next round.
And those 3 flips can just snowball if used correctly, right? On top of the fact that, again, it's just going to be damage pumped continuously. The Bellringer coming out from Big Enemy Milky's for a little bit of chip damage. Lufoxio does end up using the flip here, and they hold on to the barrier successfully. Alphamy being taken out on the edge of the map, though. Power play for the side of Balling Ballers.
Power play coming through, trying to push forward here. 1 barrier taken, flips available to use for the next take. A bit far away though, and defended by Pensando, and 1 barrier still stands for the Flying Blobos, but the rocket into dash. Lufoxio finds the power play, but it's a flip in front of the net for Fire Madden, bottom side. Saved by Dr. Bebop, but Fire Madden has 1 more try here. Dribbles around the Supernova, looks for a strike war opportunity. Pensando going in, Alphamy is back, and once again the Flying Blobos start up their offense.
The offense is definitely moving, but the question is, how is this gonna continue to play out, right? Lufoxio is so low, he needs to be careful to not get himself too involved, because there is a risk of just being taken out outright. And Pensado does have a flip available as well. Is he going to be able to find this a flip offensively though? No, he doesn't even need to, as Alpha and Firemaiden keep it in the corner, and Dr. Bebop, unfortunately, a little bit of a bad timing to release that Vice ultimate.
Yeah, a little bit rough. Didn't quite have the timing there. And now it's a 1-1 situation, a lot of damage onto Fire Madden instantly, but these barrier takes could be devastating too immediately for the Flying Blobos. They look to find a score here. They get so much damage, they get a KO on Lufoxio, and with this power play, with the passing plays, Fire Madden can go in, bottom side, top side, but it's blocked away by Big Enemy Milkies. They try again here, but the respawn's going to come in just a second. They're going to need to score very quickly. Alphamy tries to get the spin, but not quite enough, and the respawn is there for the Ballers.
Respawn is back, and that's going to be so massive as they're trying to set up another attack here, but they can't really get the other barriers. Firemaiden finds a KO on Big Enemy Milkies there. Dr. Bebop does have a flip available to them. Is he going to be able to use it on the defense, or is he going to try to hold on to it? As the core, again, just kind of is being tossed around. Another power play from the side of Flying Blobosto that doesn't quite get a much benefit out of it though, which is not really a great sign for them, as a clean attack from the side of Balling Ballers is going to be able to take the second barrier, and they're now looking to get the second goal of the set as well, as everyone's getting rather high on energy. Dr. Bebop uses the flip defensively, uses the Supernova defensively, and is able to hold on to it.
Flip, good flip from Alphamy, top side, defended away by Lufoxio, has the reactions in time, and that's KO onto Alphamy, who had no more energy left. Fire Madden now needs to use the flip. Misses the strike on it though, and the momentum completely halts for the Flying Blobos. Now it's a scary situation because the chip damage is going to be huge. Topside, Pensando reads it, finds a strike. The shot to the bottom side, not quite effective. And another strike war win by Pensando, point blank against the X. Figures out a way to keep them in the point, but Lufoxio, flip available. Oh no, accidentally flips, and Dr. Bebop late on the release again. And Ballers, a series of unfortunate mistakes and clutch plays from Pensando.
Yeah, and such an important point as well for the side of Flying Blobos to be finding here, right? You're now one away from going into another draft, and again, you don't want this game to go on for too long. You don't want to allow the side of Falling Ballers to scale too heavily. So being able to find a set win here would be massive, but there's just, again, so much damage being pumped out. Firemaiden being very low HP, Big Enemy Milky's just dumping damage on the Sex, and the Lufoxio Luna just spamming so many abilities. As another barrier falls though on the side of Falling Ballers. Now, Flying Globos need to look to find the score in this set as well to close it out.
Trying to find a little bit more, trying to find a little bit of healing. Fire Madden taking so much damage, but the flip goes wide, and the defense is there from Pensando. The layering strikes isn't there from the Ballers, giving the Aimi goalie an opportunity to get out of the situation. An amazing clear top side. Lufoxio trying to find possession, but again, it's defended away, and now Alphamy almost at a flip, a missed strike will shorten the duration of the flip availability, but Alphamy gets another chance here, trying to put so much damage down, gets a KO with the flip, tons of value. Fire Madden now greeding a little bit, trying to use the flip for the goal, and the greed pays off for Fire Madden living on a pixel.
And what a absolute masterclass on defense from Pensado there, by the way, holding on to this point for long enough and then setting themselves up perfectly to find this set win. And we're now going into this draft, and this long-awaited spark of focus is in it. Alphamy being able to secure the third and last spark of this game, definitely something he's going to be very happy about.
Very, very happy about this one here. It's going to be a little difficult for the Ballers to find a way back, because Twin Drive and Primetime are nice, but Triple Spark, Timeless Aimi, and Catalyst on the now are even better, I think, especially with how Fire Madden has been able to survive narrowly in these situations and use meter very effectively.
Yeah, most definitely. And again, keep in mind that Timeless Creator on Aimi, it's not a Timeless Creator on their own. It's a Timeless Creator with extra special. So at the start of every single set, you're going to be faced with an Aimi putting down a turret in your face. That's just going to stay there for a few seconds. And it's just going to be so difficult to defend if your defensive line is something like a Luna Vice that doesn't really specialize at being a strong defensive wall.
Oh, and Dr. Bebop, the third mistake in a row, unfortunately. Late on the release, but maybe the adrenaline rush, maybe the 1v3 means that it doesn't even matter here, as the goal is secured. The Ballers go one up despite losing their barriers early, and the clutch factor is there.
It's very much there, and you can also see the importance of the pickup of the adrenaline rush for Big Enemy Milkies there. They found one KO and then just went ham with it, getting those cooldowns back, getting that movement speed going as well. And there's just so much value in finding this first KO for the side of Falling Ballers. But again, finding it is going to be the rather difficult part initially, as a barrier drops for Falling Ballers here. Flying Blobos trying to find a second one, not quite able to do so. Being played around Big Anime Milky's just barely. One barrier does end up dropping though, but again, Lufoxio, funnily enough, the KO comp is again trying to stay alive as much as possible.
Trying to stay alive here. Trying to do a little more. But it's going to be difficult because Fireman and Alphamy are looking pretty healthy. Pensando's working on a flip. The meter is there for the X, but the barrier takes there for Alphamy. So much greed on the side of Ball and Ballers. Need to use it more efficiently, as once again, so much damage being put onto Big Enemy Milky is a big KO target now.
Big KO target, but again, that resilience pickup just really showing its worth, right? Because there's so many abilities that have been tossed into Big Anime Milky's, and he's still not dead. Even able to find a barrier. Does end up dropping in the end, but we're in an open net versus an upset situation. Fireman does have a flip soon. Are they going to be able to use it offensively? Alphamy trying to interrupt early. Lufoxio also a flip available. So very dangerous for both the goalies here. But a beautiful strike from Alphamy gets it past Dr. Bebop, as we're now 1-1 in this set.
Well played by Alphamy to get the raw strike war, and now it's a little bit scary, right? The meter's there for Fireman. Alphamy is building up as well. Lufoxio has the flip available, but hasn't had good chances to use it, especially as a Luna against a lot of stuffing abilities from both the now. And whoa, Alphamy, what a KO! What a moment to get a KO as that flip was still available.
That flip getting just KO'd like that just holds so much value. And Alphamy, again, with the edge of the map on this Rasmus, just knowing the KO ranges so well, finding another one. And just another power play for the side of Flying Globus. They do end up actually dropping one barrier here, are able to hold on to the second one. But still, it's just so much like control pressure that they're able to bring to the table here. And the KO does end up finding its way into the hands of Falling Ballers. A misstrike from Pensando, a defensive error that you rarely see from him, is going to be able to dropping that barrier. But 1v3 situation, is he going to be able to hold on to this? He does just well enough so far.
Amazing movement from Pensando, walking right past the X just enough, and they find the save, they find the comeback. And they do not get scored on just yet. Amazing defense from Fireman as well. Perfect now secondaries at the perfect moments. But the Supernova is going to stall them out for a while longer. The barrier take though, Dr. Bebop. But it's Lufoxio racing across the map, finding the goal, nullifying the barrier take. And they maintain so much energy for the next point.
And that is such an important goal to take as well, because the way the gameplay was going there, Flying Bubbles would have been able to set themselves up really nicely to get a goal going. But Lufoxio, in the crucial moment, is able to find the stash, able to find that goal for themselves, as Fireman now needs to be careful to not be taken off of the map.
Needs to be so careful, but 2 barriers taken here. Fireman is staying alive somehow. And a scoring attempt now got to come through, possibly, with a strike war wins in the midfield. Dr. Bebop does have flip available, but it's still possible to hit around here. Nice time flip from Pensando, staying alive as well, keeping up the barriers, but one taken on the bottom side. Now Fireman needs to build up this energy quickly with the Catalyst. Pensando pushing forward. Dr. Bebop, good flip to get out of there as Lufoxio pushes forward as well. All 3 ball and ballers on the top side, but still defended away by Pensando as the barrier stays up.
Barrier does stay up after some stellar defense, as now Fireman's rocking up with a flip, tries to get it past, but Alphamy just with a beautiful pendulum swing immediately disallows Dr. Bebop from that clear, and they're now 1 point away from finishing off the series 2-0.
Only 1 point left perhaps if they can close it out here. Alphamy working on the flip, so close to 1, basically there already, and if they could get some value out of this, that would be huge. Goes for a kill on Big Enemy Milky's, almost gets the pull, put on so much damage, tries to outrun the Supernova, takes some damage there, but the Brawler staggered, flipped off the map. Big play by Alphamy, 1v1ing, 1v2ing, barriers taken, and Flying Blobo so close to finishing this one.
They're trying to find this last goal as fast as possible. They do have the power play that's still going, but Big Anime Milky's now back on the field. Dr. Bebop finds a nice clear. Pensado barely missing that cyber swipe to keep up the pressure, and now the course back in Flying Blobo's side. Lufoxio here on the offense as well with a flip. Amy turret coming out defensively, and that's just so difficult to get around if you have something like the Luna X. Flip comes out, but cleanly defended by Pensado, as the core is now going back and forth. Pensado going on the aggressive side with the Amy, maybe trying to make use of this flip, trying to find a score as Flying Blobs are continuing to push down the attack, but a really good defense from the side of Blobs.
Ball and Ballers, they managed to hold on for the moment, but the barrier's still there for Pensando, flipping it away. Big opportunity for Fire Madden now. Pensando, bottom side, flip, Fire Madden, that's the goal. That's Flying Blobos closing out the series. They take a 2-0. They get a win in the season so far. And this team is looking very, very good. They're meshing together so well.
They're just playing together so well. That is completely right. As they find their first win of this season. But again, Balling Ballers having a strong showing, right? Bringing the competition. It didn't really feel like it should have been a 2-0. But in the end, the results don't lie. As Balling Ballers now start the season 0-3. Not a place where you want to be. But I mean, you had difficult matches, you had difficult opponents, and Flying Blobos today most definitely was not an easy enemy to go up against either.
Definitely not. They got the 2-0, but it was a very, very close 2-0. And the rest of the season does await. Both the teams still have a very decent shot at playoffs, right? Especially with top 6. You can have a losing record and still make it to playoffs. That's how competitive the leagues can get. So it's too early to be losing hope yet. The league is still very, very close after 3 weeks. And what a good matchup.
Yeah, a great series today as well. Like, again, I just feel like the 2-0 doesn't make it, just doesn't do it justice, right? There were clear like win cons that both the teams are playing for, but they didn't really seem to translate for the side of Balling Ballers in time, as Flying Blobos just consistently played well into them and played well against them.
Yep. On that note, though, anything you want to say before we close out for today?
Well, either way, it's always been a pleasure to be here, and I feel like everyone should be excited because Nassel, NASA, and Nasty, they're all full going, full in season. So be excited for more Omega Strikers gameplay.
Yep. Thanks everyone for watching. See you for the next stream, and bye-bye.